Cool. I should have you. You guys should have me. And yeah, life is good. Life goes on. Um, Welcome to the channel. I don't know, guys. Chilling. I just published my most recent, the thing that I did, the thing Duck did was publishing a short on Chud the Builder. So I'm gonna let me oops. This should be on mute, but I am gonna grab a link and I'm gonna drop it in chat because what do we do on YouTube if not self-promote? Yeah, yuck. Man. Um, I'm chilling. What day is it? Is it Thursday? It's Friday. Who knows? It's Friday. Yeah, all the days blend together. But I hope everybody's doing good. We've got a defeated Donald Trump on his way back from China right now. So that's one of the haps in the world that has happened, is happening. Defeated Donald Trump back from China. What else? Yee. Hey, what's up, Cole Old? Stop wasting your money on drugs so you can move to Australia and have a meaningful relationship in your life. It feels better, trust me. Those aren't English words that people speak normally, so yeah, you would just randomly walk up to someone at the store and say, stop doing drugs or something. That doesn't make any sense. So the universe apologizes for what they've given you. Yeah, we all have complaints. Not all of us complain. So if you wanted an adage, there you go. We all have complaints. Not all of us complain. I just dropped a link to the short. I'm going to pin it up. If you guys want to go watch a short, enjoy. There's the Chud the Builder situation. I edited a short. It's less than a minute long. So if you guys want that type of content, enjoy. Feel free to enjoy that type of content. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, geopolitical nerds should be going a little bit nuts right now. Geopolitics nerds should be, thinking about this Trump meeting in China, normally a huge event. If a president maybe meets with a head of state in China once or twice, hey, Daniel, great to see you. Happy Friday. A head of state meets with leaders in China from the US maybe once or twice in their term. If you're not an authoritarian who's doing months at a time or years at a time as a president, how are you today, my soy-loving friend? Hey, what's going on, Dale? Yeah, I wouldn't say soy-loving, but that's a very kind notion. Very kind notion. Yeah. As long as you're happy, I'm happy. And sure, maybe in that case, I love soy. Yeah, China probably loves soy too. I think there are a lot of, doesn't China eat a lot of tofu, a lot of like soybeans and things like this? Great protein source. It's already, soybeans are already a higher protein source than most beans, and you can refine it into tofu. So for new vegans, tofu is usually much a staple. Ah, Steven saying soy boy, cool. Soy and rice, cool. Yeah, heck yeah, heck yeah. Awesome. Same sitch. LOL funny. No, you're funny, bro. You're funny, Mr. Steven Gallagher. Weighing in at 2,209 pounds. We've got Steven Gallagher in the chat. What's up? Ryan Fitzpatrick. I don't know who that is. I don't know if it's a good thing, it's a bad thing. I feel like a bum right now. I feel like I look like a bum. Like, yeah. I got that bum look that YouTube likes. Whatever. Hey, we all got complaints. Not all of us are complaining though. But yeah, if you guys want to tap that like on your screen, it helps the stream reach more people. We're sort of a chill spot, fun hanging out. I like talking to you guys. And then we do more scholastic style politics on the main page, guys. So if you want to learn something, be a little entertained, have it kind of be like a small Netflix studios presenting you guys some information. I love to serve like that. I look Canadian, cool. Yeah, I'm not Canadian. I love Vancouver. I love Canucks. Yeah, Canuck Bucks. Hey, thanks so much, Almost High. Yeah, Scholastic, you are an illiterate. Cool. Yeah, I mean, my hope is that my content can be accessible to at least some people. irrespective of whether or not you have a college education. I only have a bachelor's degree, so I'm not some kind of super genius. I don't claim to be. But yeah, I've done I've done a more than most independent study. I like writing. I like telling stories. I like narratives. So, hey, what's going on, YouTube XO? Very nice. Yeah, yeah, definitely. I don't know. Again, that's one of those things where I don't understand how to make sense of it. You wouldn't go to a grocery store and just yell, "Buy Jew." And so doesn't really make sense. Accessible to morons. Good. Yeah, heck yeah. Do you touch the hole when you wipe? Very nice. I'm 36, and Kino, I'm 36 years old. I live in Arizona, so live in the Sonoran Desert. It's one of the few ecologies with saguaro cacti, so very cool cactus, very resilient, summer resilient, winter resilient, all kinds of stuff. Bro, yeah. I don't know I don't know if you were yelling Jew at a grocery store and then you just said, "Bruh, I'm so sad, my heart's broken." I'm not sure that's going to do anything for you. Do not wipe with the saguaro. You're real good at stringing along information. Hey, thank you. Thank you, Almost High. Yeah, and if you guys go to the videos, you'll see Almost High, some other subscribers. You guys can leave comments on anything. I do, right? I'm a content creator, live streamer, but I use YouTube like social media. So if you guys want to start a conversation, suggest a topic, weigh in your opinion. Cool. Yeah, CEO My Time. Has really nothing to do with just appearing like a sane person. Arizona is very hot. Yeah, it's like 100. We get to 120 degrees in the summer. So really, it's easy to waste a lot of electricity. People with pools, sometimes you can have like $600, $700 electricity bills in the summer. Not joking, it's crazy. Yeah, 600, 700 US dollar just an electricity bill here. It's crazy. Yeah. I don't know what a fanny is. I don't know what that means. Scotland's #1. Hey, yeah, shout out to you guys in Europe. Shout out to the former British colonies and British kingdoms and the whatnot as well. But yeah, shout out to you guys. Good to see you. I don't know. You're saying Jewish people make fun of Christians. That's still, if you mean that seriously, that still doesn't relate to me. That statement, if you like set that down and asked if a sane person said this, I would say probably not, right? A sane, rational person doesn't think in their head that a Jew makes fun of Christians all the time. Yep, so same deal, right? You're staying in the topic, CEO. You're choosing to stay in a topic for some reason I can't identify, and it's not my business. I would never try to identify the reason that you come in and you say Jew, and then you want to stay talking about Jews, right? It doesn't make any sense to me. I bought a book about reincarnation, which is about having multiple lives. It's a very expensive book, but I ended up buying it anyways because you only live once. That's crazy. Yeah. Hey, do what you guys love. You guys like energy, you like astrology, reincarnation. Yeah, whatever you do it well, right? Hey, there's a good prerequisite. I'm all about science and natural worldviews. But if you do something and you have a chance to spend 5 minutes doing it excellently versus just saying it, what an opportunity, guys. We're all poor in our own ways. We're all really poor in our own ways. All right, and if you want to come back, I'll catch you tomorrow. Have a good day. Yeah, we'll do 24-hour timeouts because I'm not going to sit here. If you guys just want to go say the Jews, you can literally say that on a million other YouTube channels. If you didn't understand that, now you understand it. You guys can subscribe here because you can bring up philosophy, politics, religion, be a cool person, talk about a book you recently bought, talk about your diet, talk about food, health, fitness, friendship, whatever. I truly don't care. You can literally go yell Jew on 1,000 different YouTube channels. So I didn't say Jew. I just said Jews aren't a protected class. Cool. Well, the topic's still done. You wanted to stay on it, so you're out too for a day. Thank you. Appreciate you. I do. I bought a book indeed. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. I got a bunch of books. I got so I have $300 in the US to live on for the next month. That pending any situation should be coming in sometime in about a week or so. And yeah, and so I do want to go out and buy some more books and stuff like that. If you guys want to support the channel, Stream Hype, whatever, support all your favorite streamers. But if you guys want to hype with gifts, You guys want to send some of the laughing disco balls, whatever those, it is a lot for some people, and those $2, $1, $3, those add up over the month. Collecting pennies on the sidewalk, I'm down with that. Super chats, those help a lot too. I think it's going to be a long, long time. And I think it's going to be a long, long time till touchdown brings me round again to find I'm not the man they think I am back home. Oh, no, no, no. I'm a rocket man. How would you recommend doing it, Georgie? How would you recommend the grift? I'm not actually asking. I'm just going to ban you off the channel. That's the easier way to do it. Did you say $300 to last the month? Hell yeah. Yeah. So it's a lot of money. It's not a lot in US dollars. So whatever. Like I said, we all can complain. We all have complaints. That doesn't mean we all complain. So at the end of there's always someone, right? For me, when I think about progressive governments that have welfare, social security, all kinds of benefits, people can go get part-time jobs. I think that in terms of a just economic program, there's people like me. I'm not saying I'm on welfare. I'm not saying I'm taking government benefits right now, or that I ever have even, right? Do you guys think I would have filed for unemployment even if I was qualified for it, right? There's no stigma or shame, but that doesn't mean everyone does or whatever. But yeah, I still get a lot of advantage by living in the US. I have $300 period, right? So my bank account will have $300 for food and daily expenses and stuff like that. Additional bills that come up. Yeah. So obviously I'm a live streamer. For whatever reason, I don't have a job, so it's dragging around, but it's fun, right? It's fun. There's cool conversations, stuff to think about, stuff to do. And yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So anyways, I don't bring it up because I don't care to talk about it that much usually. I don't know why I brought it up or how it came up. Yeah, I believe, who was it? Georgie, right? There was the correct choice. You can get banned from the channel. Yeah. There we go. Nice. Did you used to have a job? Yeah, I'm kind of done talking about it, but yeah, like most people, I'm a 36-year-old adult, so I used to work, right? Yeah. I'll just put a super chat goal up. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time to touchdown brings me round again to find. Cool. There we go. Put me on speed dial. Yeah. Hey, thanks so much for the sparkles. Shout out to you. Yeah, shout out for the sparkles. Thank you. Appreciate the stream hype. Yeah, people shift careers. So I worked in call centers. I've done restaurants. I've done tech. Heck yeah. Yeah, I like sparkles. Yeah. Nothing you talk about is of substance. Cool. What would you prefer to talk about, Daniel? Do you have a topic in politics, philosophy, or something else that's real to you? I don't know. I'd love to know what you're able to talk about, what you're interested in talking about, and how much you can say about it. Yeah, Donald Duck is a Disney character, so that's what you know about knowing. Cool. Awesome. And I think it's gonna be a long, long time to touchdown. Yeah, so President Xi emphasized that the United States and China are great partners. That was a big one, right? That was a big one. Can we all agree that I'm the best looking? Yeah, absolutely. Sankey, okay. Best looking person in the chat. Best looking, but do you vote Democrat, right? I don't care if you're not in the US. Even if you're not in the US, you should be voting blue. You should be voting for labor parties, progressive governments, and you should be voting for sustainability and conservation. Vote for human rights, man. Hell yeah, Jello. I do like Jello. Yellow. Hello. What's up? You're such a multifaceted persona, a lot to bring to a debate. Cool. Yeah, it's a little bit, hey Chris, great to see you. Yeah, it's a little bit, it's just easy to say we are a politics channel because we can talk geopolitics. Yeah, we can talk business, right? We can talk shipping lanes. We can talk the Strait of Hormuz, any of those topics. We can talk any of those things. It's amazing. Yeah, yeah. Um, hey, thanks. Hey, what's going on, mister? Hopefully you're having a great day. I'm not voting for tampons. Um, Cool. Yeah, I mean that's a really anti-dem. So someone in chat, someone in a blocked message says they're not voting for tampons or transition surgery. So this shows a severe, in my opinion, I would say this shows a drastic misunderstanding of politics in general, society in general, as well as both the conservative and progressive opinion, right? And so it should be clear that when you vote for a MAGA or GOP, you're not voting to dictate and tell people what to do and what not to do, right? That would be autocracy or fascism. And so it's amazing. I don't know if maybe you're not in the US or you don't understand that, but yeah, a vote for a GOP or Democratic candidate in any case should be a vote for limited government. And yeah, but if you would rather have Myron Gaines or Andrew Tate telling you how to live your life, when you eventually get married on your honeymoon, they're going to tell you how to kind of get after it, what to talk about at dinner with your kids. To me, that's like a much weaker position, right? Whatever. That's the alpha male that's standing up in front of you, though. Hey, hell yeah. What's up, expired claims? Yeah, hopefully we're not doing too much roundup. Man, hopefully we're not doing too much roundup. I fell off today, guys. By the way, I have a sense some of you guys pick up on that kind of stuff, but I'm just up here vaping, farting, thinking about eating some beans later. It's really bad. American populace is so gullible. Yeah, I mean, I would say substantiate that claim, right? To see, I would say that there is a political narrative, there is a timeline of things Americans believed and understood, right? Things Americans believed and understood, which stems from nationalism, stems from neoconservatism coming from the Tea Party. So this is a specific, hell yeah. All right, hell yeah. This is a specific type of claim, right, about geopolitics. I don't know what framework you would use other than your subjective belief that Americans are gullible. And so when we think of the Koch brothers, like the way it used to work was Facebook. Yeah, it used to be the case that you could run Facebook ads telling people that Barack Obama was a transvestite Kenyan Muslim. And you're going to have some percentage of the population, the same stupid people that live in Europe, the same stupid people, gullible, whether you want to say gullible or they are actually cruel, mean, and nasty, and actually a little stupid too. When it comes to politics, not your household, not your job, nothing else. But when it comes to politics, yeah, you're gullible and stupid. But everyone has those, right? You can look at Europe. I'm sure China has gullible, stupid people because it's human nature. What do you guys believe about human nature? Do you vote on human nature? You haven't once. You haven't once. Yeah, cool. We've got one person supporting socialism. So, if it sounds like you would want to, Elizabeth would want to do real politics today. I don't know. We're just hanging out. We're all friends. I would say as a progressive Democrat, I still think group-based politics, identity politics, have limited usefulness. And I know socialism isn't identity politics. It's talking about a system of distribution. It's talking about fairness. It's talking about why regulation solves for society being self-destructive is maybe how I'd say it. And yeah, I always wonder if the starting point is good, if the argument is good. Maybe it is the case society is self-destructive and democratic socialism, people like Zoran Mamdani solve for that. It could also be the case that that's not true. Could also be the case that that's not true. Yeah, sending libs to Cuba, yeah. Yeah, you would actually end up probably having some in common and not everything. Cuba is a weak state. So you might say that if you are a political scientist, you might say that weak states always have strong domestic security measures. And the reason being is that a couple of reasons, right? People are obviously going to oppose being poor. People are going to oppose having limits to their freedom, especially if they're poor. And then it's also the case that external powers, the CIA, could actually Like CIA, KGB, any government entity could exert power from inside the government, right? Not everything is a plane flying over. And so when we think of soft power, hard power, we think of the economic arrangements, tax arrangements you have to agree to. Those things can keep you poor. Those things can make things better. You know, it sounds kind of like the mafia, and maybe it is. Women voting goes against nature. Really deeply incorrect opinion, Jason C. I don't know what it's supposed to mean, but it seems incredibly uneducated and uninformed. And yeah, yeah, you know, global feminism is an interesting case where if you want to send libs to, if you want to send libs to Cuba, like you might find that opinions about women's rights are differing or the same there. Maybe you don't. Oh, cool. Yeah, that is really funny, right? Literally, a guy just got arrested for wanting to go shoot black people filming content. That is his charge. His charge in the court is you wanted to shoot a black person on the internet. That's the video link, by the way. If any of you guys wants to take a minute-long sojourn, leave some comments, leave some likes on the video. That's the Chud situation. Yeah, Midwit's fine too, right? You don't have to be a genius to understand morality or ask about causation and have your own opinion about it. I think causation is one of these things, like if you think women are not a cause of voting or something like that, there's a cause that makes voting successful. So already a pretty big deal. What makes a collective decision-making or a system of majority like voting work? So you have this. And then when you are describing your own cause, you just had a steak dinner, you had steak tacos. So you're an idiot. You're very dumb. Nothing's going to fix that. You're dumb in that moment and perhaps dumb for a longer period of time. And now you have an opinion about it. That's very bad, right? That's a very bad thing. My brother's name is Wayne King. I don't know who that is. I don't know your brother, so I don't know what that has to do with anything, obviously. If you want to talk about Wayne King, cool. Yeah, you guys, we're not a Gooner channel. You guys can share your wiener tips in the chat, etc. No offense. Voting doesn't change anything. Yeah, cool. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that that's actually accurate. I don't think that's accurate. You know, politicians have to listen to the polls at some point, and it feeds back not just to their own way that they represent their constituents, but it also has to feed up to the level of party politics. And this can cut both ways based on your values. So Al Gore is a great example. He was a Democrat, establishment Democrat who said, we have to get in front of global warming and climate change. We have to get in front of globalism taking over globalization. Guys, like he's saying these terms don't make any sense. There are things we have to solve together on the level of international government. And there's stuff that we have to be able to solve back at our own communities. Innovate, engineer solutions, guys. You guys are in the US, you know, we love engineers. We love building stuff. We love hiring lawyers once you have something that works. And so saying that voting doesn't change stuff, vaping doesn't change stuff, to me, no offense, this is uninformed, right? And I'll tell you guys a story. I'm not showing off, but there was this like 18, 19-year-old chick, definitely a solid 8 or 9 out of 10. 8 or 9 out of 10. I went to the smoke shop and she winks at me, checking out buying a vape. So one, vaping does change stuff. This is a true story. Not every guy gets winked at when they're buying a vape, right? Look at me. I look like shit. I look like I need to go have my teeth and face bleached. But anyways, hey, thank you for the feedback on my looks. I don't know what you're fixing, but okay, cool. You're fixing your need to, I don't know. Who knows? Al Gore made a fortune off his scam of carbon credits. So JD Tux, you're in chat making stuff up. So I would look at the proposition, Al Gore made a fortune off his scam of carbon credits. And you would wonder if this is truth apt, right? Is this truth apt in any sense? And I think you should see it's not. It isn't truth apt. So saying that it's a scam of carbon credits, what defines a scam, right? It would be illegal, one would say. It would be dishonest toward people. And maybe it's not operating, it's not producing anything in the world. So this is one of the reasons people say things like trading stocks or mutual funds they say, oh, this is the great American scam, right? The great American scheme is financial trading, financial instruments, because you're not actually producing anything. All you're doing is changing the value. You're asking others to recognize the risk or go investigate what the company actually is. That's what trading basically does. changing value and risk evaluations. And so for you to say Al Gore made a fortune off his scam of carbon credits, I don't think you mean that Al Gore only wanted to promote carbon credits, or that it's not based on anything. There's not an economic exchange that's happening. So I don't think it's true theft, right? How could you talk about carbon credits without collective problems like the tragedy of the commons, right? This is game theory. This is still economic thinking. So JD Tux, your statement is wrong. It's grammatical. It's not syntax. Or if it is syntax, it just means nothing, right? It has no meaning in the world. So I hope that's clear to people that like this is an example of something that maybe someone who says Al Gore or carbon schemes are scams, maybe they have more to say back to it. There's a conversation about why it's political, why it's something the government does, but your subjective opinion isn't truth apt, right? I can feel some way about ice cream. So that type of belief that Al Gore made a fortune off of the scam of carbon credits is no different than saying your favorite ice cream is vanilla ice cream. So whatever. GG. Yeah, what's up, Puffington? What are you working on, bro? What are you working on, brother? I would guess that your way of having these types of conversations is one way, and it's one way for all the things you care about, if that's not right. Why don't you get a better moderator? Didn't I already ban you? I thought I already banned you. You guys want the easy choice? There you go. Very mean statement, very cruel. So you want to celebrate cruelty and you think it helps someone? Well, cool. You can come back tomorrow and we'll try again. It's hard to continue, right? I wasn't trying to do anything. I was trying to just chill a little bit, but it's hard to continue with more than this short type of form. Yeah, I understand that, but you would need to have some form of knowledge that isn't just based in perception or subjective opinion. You would need something that's maybe quantifiable. You would need to, in your own mind, identify what's qualified, right? So it would perhaps be evidence if you saw economists on both sides. You saw politicized economists on both the left and the right, or who traditionally do demand and supply side economics, all come out and say, well, yeah, Al Gore's carbon credit scheme was a scam, and here's why it doesn't make economic sense. But I can tell you no such world exists. There is no world where you have just a consensus amongst economists that economic problems are not solved by economics, right? If it's an economic problem, there's possibly an economic solution to it as well. Maybe that's not your political goal. Maybe you think there's social revolution that takes place. And this is typically what happens when you have nationalists, alt-right, far-right, MAGA, right? It's not just the Tea Party who said God, guns, and country. And when they get loud, we will louder say God, guns, and country once again. This is America in the 2010s. You could go anywhere and you still have Jesus on the bumper stickers. You have God bless the GOP, God bless Mitt Romney, right? Whoever their front runner, their horses were, their local politicians, they would say, yeah, we're going to get abortion. We're going to get porn out of the state. We're going to make sure we get evolution out of textbooks or intelligent design into the textbooks. And you have a very small subset of people not raised on the internet, not raised on information, get very excited about these types of ideas, right? And so you have billionaires basically paying for advertising to these zealot Christians to go out and spread political messages and call it grassroots. So this is very well documented. This is the Tea Party. But yeah, it's just one of those things that when we see zealotry, when we see people asking for revolutionary social change, we see people defending Chud like Myron Gaines, the Chud the Builder situation where he went out with a firearm and a cell phone, insisting to call racists, call people the N-word, call people of color the N-word, and then shoot them, right? His plan was to call someone an N-word and then shoot them. You have Myron Gaines and others defending this because they believe there's some revolution. This must be revolutionary. This must be about our authority, our masculinity. It really makes no sense whatsoever. All right. You didn't make it very long. I don't know what that was supposed to help, but there you go. Unfortunately, life itself survives off exploitation. Life needs to consume life to continue, which is already a messed up baseline. Yeah, definitely. That's a great point. That's one opinion is that, yeah, anything that is complex takes complexity. So it's not just the case that we have good or we are doing well, our brains, when our brains are healthy, that means that that takes a lot of energy. Our brains, our spinal cords, our neurons, our stomachs, these are all energy, can be very energy intensive metabolic systems, but so can a city, so can New York City. So this is like evolutionary sort of evolved type systems and whatever. And yeah, Al Gore while preaching the sky is falling. Hey, thanks so much, Andy Lima. We got Andy in chat. Andy's a huge supporter with the stream hype, so it's great to see you today. Anyways, it's great to see you. Al Gore while preaching the sky is falling is flying around private. Jets don't. Jets does that sound like he was afraid of the world was ending. Yeah. So if you're pointing out that Al Gore may have been a hypocrite, that's probably true. I think we should, in politics, we typically decide when we're aligned with someone. So, for example, someone more centrist in the Democratic Party, someone who relates maybe closer to the economy and just the economy, and says, my job is to govern less and my job is to do the economy. They might look at AOC and accuse her of saying, well, AOC doesn't govern less. You can debate whether or not that's true. Technically, she's trying to roll back the largest budget item in Trump's budget, right? ICE. She's trying to roll back the most constitutionally infringing and expensive item. So AOC is a conservative because she's saying abolish ICE. Who knows? But yeah, hey, thanks. We got Clutch coming in chat. Thank you so much. And yeah, and so I don't know, to JD Tux's, to this great comment in chat. We got makeup brushes too. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. To JD Tux in chat, I don't know that Al Gore is someone I would be misaligned with because he's a hypocrite. However, I wouldn't trust Al Gore to have all of the picture or a complete view of what people wanted. But the fact that he understands that the game of industrial capitalism defining politics in the US, basically this very tribal McWorld sort of sense of being dumb, being very stupid because I'm an American, and not seeing that the same form of competition and judgment we use around the world also applies to our economy and our usage of fossil fuels, I would align with Al Gore on this, right? We say, well, this is the much bigger picture. And when people even get the cultural recognition that we're wasteful as a civilization, that the US has responsibilities as consumers and innovators, and this still doesn't change the economics of energy. These are types of realizations that are incredibly valuable in a democracy and that we'll need into the future. It doesn't replace the fact that Donald Trump and the MAGA Republicans, the GOP under Donald Trump's leadership, have gone along to lead us off a cliff. Inflation is 4%. It seems less and less likely that people will understand you can invest in justice, you can invest in environmental justice, you can invest in your future, you can invest in science and innovation and come out ahead. You can still invest in the lower middle class. You can still invest in human dignity and do these things. You sound like a cynicist. Yeah, heck yeah. Yeah, Diogenes was pretty cool when you just reject everything. JK. Fast forward to today, his fortune is estimated at 30 million or more, but mainly on climate change activism. Yeah. Who knows? Maybe you have an opinion that capitalism outside of Al Gore, and it contains Al Gore, right? You go back and you fetch him. You can say another great argument is, well, acting in the manner of liberal capitalism either it does or does not produce change. Maybe I don't believe that the pros ever outweigh the cons. I believe that corporate structures are wasteful or something. Cool. Some would say yes, absolutely, and good luck with that at the same time, You can invest in investments, but if you invest in what you invest in, you are an investor, and we applaud you for your investments. Yeah, thanks, Rick Young. Yeah, understanding asset classes, maybe sector, getting into the value chain is more tangible, specific, particular knowledge, right? So specific knowledge about an equity or a stock is saying that I know this stock is going to go up or down in value. I'm taking on risk, and if I have a reason to believe something, nothing is going to change the fact that one stock certificate is more risky than one bond, right? A financial advisor would tell you this, but it's very different. It's very different than to say, well, the reason this equity is risky is because it's not just the value of the company, but it depends on all of these inputs. It depends on all the people in society recognizing it. It depends on macroeconomics and political forces and currency risks. And so basically when you say, well, an equity is technically subject to all types of risk, some of which are specific to the company, others which are maybe not, then it's accurate, right? And so, yeah, you can have specific knowledge about the investment or asset class and the asset itself, or specific knowledge about what that is for in the world. Yeah, definitely positive. Yeah, being positive. A lot of people accuse me. They'll say, "Duck, you're not my friend. You're not positive about stuff. You're always complaining about Charlie Kirk, about MAGA Republicanism. You get sick of talking about geopolitics and stuff." And I would say, yeah, that's a fair criticism. That's a very fair criticism. But I do think I'm positive, right? I want to have conversations that move forward. I want to know what everyone thinks, and I don't want to be up here being the authority on everything, truthfully. If I can help with stuff, I like being helpful. They would rather invest in endless wars. Hell yeah. Yeah, Abdullah is right. Yeah, the defense industry is a huge time sink. Even compared to AI sectors, defense spending and military spending is like keeping up with AI, and just how mind-boggling that should be to you is, yeah, some of that is AI, but not all of it is. And so the fact that AI is this disruptive technology and we should be deeply concerned, we should see it as a political topic and a social one. But this doesn't change the fact that AI is set to disrupt and completely upend world economies. And the fact that military spending is the one thing that's keeping up with it is absolutely wild. Huge question, huge Chris size bites, guys. Yeah, if you guys want to keep up, Chris Max 619 in chat asks big questions. So if you can ask the big question with Chris or bring it down a level, then you'll be doing well. Is it even possible to create a happy society in the entropic world? Wow, another big question. We're having a big fight. Bam. Blancos, right? Blancos, Benny Blancos. Who caused this debt? The government. Yeah, taxpayers. Yeah, taxpayers, but it's also our lifestyles, right? Our lifestyle, everything we do in our lifestyle takes energy. And so it's a very mature reality, right? I wouldn't tell someone in high school that every step you take is going to consume energies and fuel resource crises, famine, and disease around the world, right? But I would tell someone that, this is why we typically say something like, well, if you are in high school, you may understand that environmentalism is a value. It's not just the state of the world. You may understand that environmentalism is something our brains and bodies naturally understand, but there's also a political, social aspect of it, and you don't need to be political and social to care about the environment, right? There's plenty of conservatives who are ranchers, farmers, and boy, do they love God, guns, and country, right? These aren't environmentalists like Greta Thunberg, but there's a lot of reasonable people who take evidence-based approaches to topics relevant to them. And yeah, MAGA Donald Trump has seemed to say, well, even you are too stupid or too quiet or weak to see that the world is actually like, if you were to leave the pond for just a minute, your tiny little pond for just a minute, you would see that the world has changed fairly drastically under Donald Trump's short tenure. Yeah, and that Donald Trump is probably committing fraud and corrupt around the world, not just in the United States. That's the reality of it. Yep. One thing that you understand, you should understand the other stuff too. I'm not positive. I'm a realist. Cool. Cool. Yeah. Coded political speak. Yeah. Realism. Cool. Hell yeah. You guys are all probably smarter than me about all this stuff. Jess says, America has never been free. Everything comes at a cost. Voting for the wrong person will cost you your soul. Yeah. Very interesting. Very interesting that nationalism does create such a sharp cliff is one way I read that. And it's also about policies and prescriptions. It's wondering about, whether people that have rested on Hegelian, these sort of interpretive notions of history are, is this kind of in reproach to that as well? So you elect Donald Trump, suddenly it doesn't matter that you have a Social Security Administration effectively extending for many decades, right? Many decades, not few. And this is an incredible accomplishment when you think of the richest nation of hundreds of millions providing welfare to people who are sick, poor, old, or disabled. And then you elect Donald Trump and suddenly there's new programs competing for attention. There's new programs which do pose a substantive risk to the SSA. And you also say, for me, one of the things I noticed is, yeah, old people who hated immigrants and foreigners so much that you are willing to elect Donald Trump at the expense of your own kids, your soon to be retired sons and daughters and their families. at the expense, the risk of their retirement as well. That makes no sense, right? It's a completely delusional, devoid of realities type of position and mindset. I'm all for conservative candidates that want fiscal responsibility, that want to evaluate programs, even like Social Security, and wonder if we should roll them back, right? If you have to do it, what's going to happen? At the end of the day, it's not about cruelty or meanness. It's the fact that a Democratic population will roll back those programs too. But why would you put them at risk for political goals, endless wars, more energy, all this stuff? Hey, thanks, Andy Lima. Yeah, maybe I'll go get a workout in. I was thinking about this, guys. I was thinking about getting a gym membership close by and either taking you guys with after some of these streams or letting you guys buy live stream workouts. I don't know. Who knows? Saying 20 bucks or 50 bucks kicks me off stream, sends me to the gym. I can set like super chat goals. I know that's stupid, right? But yeah, I was thinking about doing that. So that's just on my brain, is doing a second channel in case this one, anything happens to it or something, because I literally have no prospects or hope in my life. Can politicians realistically fight corruption when their campaigns often depend on wealthy donors? Yeah, I do. I'm not a big money in politics guy. I do think money in politics matters enormously, but I don't see the reason it matters. The reason it matters is because you need to have the input of big tech companies. You need to have the input of energy companies. And so when you say that money and corruption goes alongside the actual information that you would need to be an effective governor for effective governance, to effectively represent your voters, your constituents, the humans with pulses and souls, not the corporate entities. To me, I would say that, yeah, you do it. I don't see there being a problem with corporations giving money, but I see a huge problem when fiduciaries don't see that they have to go compete and innovate, and they think it's the case that policy will help or save their company. Private energy companies are maybe some of the worst. AOC would tell you this. Many conservatives may also tell you this as well, that there's these people that go out and they buy assets that they cannot take care of. They cannot have stewardship, so they buy land with oil and coal reserves. You can picture you own a restaurant or a gas station and you say, hey, I'm doing really well. You're making money hand over fist, millions of dollars a week. And you say, well, this is going so well, I want to go buy more gas stations and restaurants. But the ones you buy have cockroach infestations, right? There's bugs everywhere, and you cannot serve people food when there's a cockroach infestation. Or the shelves are not stocked, or whatever. There's holes in the walls. Somebody's farting in the corner. There's a gas leak. And so what private energy companies have done is, and someone's throwing up, which is correct. What they've done is, a lot of times they'll make money, they'll show profitability, or they'll finance their ability to expand the amount of oil and natural gas they can produce. And then they have these old, dirty, farty, throwy-uppy, expensive oil and gas facilities. And the only way for them to keep up with other energy producers is to expand and not invest. And then Uncle Sam has to come in eventually and say, modernize, clean it up, right? You can't be polluting. You have to look and at least act like other energy companies. So private energy companies, they fuel your life, right? They help you get to work. Sometimes they invest in technology. They provide high-paying jobs. They do things that no other company can do. But that doesn't change the fact that a company has to be able to steward and take care of the things they own. In my opinion, in my view, I think that's true. Hell yeah. Somebody's saying God is dead. God died in Europe. Yeah, God died in Europe when religious people were arguing about stuff that didn't matter, I guess. Yeah, No Money says both sides commit fraud. Yeah, fraud probably exists most accurately on a statistical plane. It's probably more about individuals who are tempted to commit fraud, right? Individuals who are naturally seeking towards situations where they can take advantage of things. So nothing wrong or right with that, right? Some of the best investors, maybe some of the best CEOs are looking to sneak into markets, looking to challenge and disrupt things that others have not. These people might be your best friends. They might be on your softball team or coach your kid's soccer team, right? Nothing wrong with a person, but then you put them in a position of power. You give them an opportunity where there's huge incentive with zero downside other than getting arrested of becoming incredibly wealthy, secretly wealthy, explicitly wealthy, and fraud happens. And so Donald Trump's immature narrative that we listen to teeny boppers who, I don't know, what do they like? They like K-pop demon hunters or something like this. Dora the Explorer stuff. They go out and they say we're investigative journalists, and it's really you bought a microphone off of Craigslist, right? Just like anyone else could. So there is not waste, fraud, and abuse that a 18-year-old is blowing the doors open on that just doesn't exist in society. Yeah, and adding a name to it too, No Money, I would add this to that comment that both sides commit fraud. I would say adding a name to it where there's zero evidence that there's actually fraud that's been committed, and you're not trying to understand who that person is, even after you make a false allegation. To me, that's pretty bad, right? That's really a bad look for people. Nationalism will always lead to fascism. It always does. Yeah, nationalism sucks, right? It's a really dirty, nasty lake, and it's always going to go to the same place as well. God is not dead. They just use his name for greed and resources. Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Right. And so like you may have close friends, family that are interested in your view of God. Maybe you find philosophical or academic circles to talk about God, but socially and political, when you say his name and I say what I might think of God, I don't know that we have anything to talk about, right? That God is by definition not causing things in the world. So saying that our God is an awesome God, he reigns from heaven above, well, that same God produces sexual assault and abuse in the Mormon church. That same God has a Catholic sex scandal. That same God seems to pop up 100 new cults each year. That same God is a Scientologist, right? That same God is a Muslim cleric that is, or a sheik that in a deeply a government which only has Islamic law is stoning women because they held some other man's hand, right? And so your version of his doesn't, to me, apply to a better form of education. It doesn't apply to understanding energy consumption, understanding exploitation, understanding inflation, or other technical topics. And so saying that we have common ground to talk about is good, and it's also social, and that may be political, but God itself is not. God is dead for sure, bro. You expect the old who are going to die in the next 5 to 10 years would care about anything in the future. I wouldn't judge that. I think human nature is benevolent at the core of it. I also think humans are clumsy. Humans don't take care of their brains and bodies. I'm in the US. This is kind of a trope, but there's a trope that prior to indigenous being recognized in society, when you had exploitation, right? You had Indian boarding schools. We had genocide in the US. Indigenous Native Americans were treated horribly by politics and society. But just culturally, one of the things was that, well, if you're indigenous and you're getting too angry, maybe someone can say, well, remember, it's a sick society, right? These are sick people that have genocided your people, and now they don't recognize you politically. It's the same sick people that refuse to admit what they did in front of millions of others. They had the chance to use, in a small sense, use their voice to admit something and take responsibility on the level of society without themselves losing any skin, and they didn't do it. To me, that's sickness, right? That's like cancer, to be that dishonest. And so, I do think that human nature, in some sense, is benevolent. But we can also say that on the level of society and evolving causes, people can be really sick at times, right? We're all in it together. Apparently, we all go along with it, and yeah, that's the reality. Fascism is like a death cult. You can justify infinite suffering in pursuit of more mountains beyond. That's interesting. Yeah, that seems like economic thinking, that you have a way to count or numerically represent suffering. And that's so interesting. At the end of Benito Mussolini's Doctrine of Fascism, or whatever this document was called, where you're not a person, your opinions, your goals, your self-interest doesn't matter. We can measure how it's bad because you're just going to go break stuff, right? At the end of the day, hey, I'm a Democrat, Calvin, I'm a Democrat. AKA liberal. Yeah, definitely. Yeah. So if you want, I vote purple, right? So I have a lot of conservative values, and I think actually, whatever you mean by cis, I think that's probably pretty otherizing. But that statement, AKA liberal sissies or cis, I don't know what you mean, but yeah. I think it makes you an adult or mature, or it does fit the norms of masculinity to be able to distinguish your own beliefs and represent causality accurately. I don't know how that wouldn't be the case, but yeah. Anyways, interesting stuff. I think that's really interesting, Elizabeth. Yeah, $1.99 and I'll go to the gym. Yeah. We'll see. Yeah, most of the month we'll do $5 and $50 gym days or something. Yeah, you guys get the great benefit of going to the gym and listening to me talk about the stuff I eat. I'll buy some white plates from Goodwill. I can start filming cooking videos, lifestyle content, workouts. I'll show you guys getting back down to sub 10% body fat or something like that. Lord willing, God willing, praise Jesus, right? Praise Jesus. We need more simps. Whew. Hey, what's up? Yeah, I wouldn't compare myself to Destiny. Obviously, he's got a lot more subscribers and stuff like that. Um, I also think that, yeah, he tackles issues in a really fine-grained way. I don't try to do that either. He's very knowledgeable on the zeitgeist and stuff. And yeah, he does. I think he'd be awesome to have a worldview debate with, right? Let's find what we agree on and then talk about what we disagree. But I wouldn't think of myself as my own brain and Destiny's brain, not on social media. I don't think any of us are, either of us are alike in any sense, right? Can you please make the drill sergeant? Yeah, good Garston, man. Christmas ass for go. I can't do it today. Yeah. Shout out to all the good Gershons, all the good Gershon. We've got a Christian like button. We've got Christian super chats, Christian pink super chat goal, Christian $1, $2 super chats. Yeah, that's right. Huge ask to give me or your favorite streamer some money. But if you guys are Christians, I'm a Christian taking your money. You guys can also send some stream hype. And yeah, Christian, subscribe to the Christian channel, guys. Shout out to you guys. I now know about inelastic goods. Hell yeah, yeah. Elasticity is a really important topic. Yeah, you know, you may not take your family to California on a road trip when gas is high, but you're probably still driving to work, right? I haven't heard in my lifetime, I haven't heard of an employer saying, yeah, we're going to close down the office or shift to remote because the cost of gasoline is too high. Yeah. Yeah, it's probably not possible to disprove a creator. But I do think we can have Gnostic experience of naturalism and say, well, look, you know, it's the way that our beliefs are expressed. Here's how I make a strong statement of atheism. If you guys want to debate or discuss, is if I know a lottery ticket is 1 in 20 million chance of winning, I can tell my friend, if you buy a lottery ticket, you're not going to win the lottery. And if they ask, explain that to me, explain your belief. And I'll say, well, you have a 1 in 20 million chance of doing that. And so if I look at all of the reason I say that, and I think it's correct, is I can look at a lot of things that will happen to you in the next second with a 1 in 200 million chance. And so normally we would expect something like, well, you won't get hit by lightning tomorrow. Or we would expect someone to say, well, it's not likely that a Boeing airliner is going to crash on your head tomorrow. And we would accept those. Those have similar probabilities. And so from a Gnostic atheism perspective or agnostic atheism, looking at the evidence for naturalism and vertical causation, someone might say, well, from my perspective, I'm presenting you statistics of 1 in 20 million or 1 in 200 million. And what I mean by affirming there is no God is what anyone means by any statement that we would hold to be true. So, yeah, most people would read, unless there's back channeling going on, and I'm not going to speculate. I think it's unfair that, who knows, they don't just clarify exactly what was talked about, if more was talked about, if there's anything that people in democracies around the world should know, right? It's not because of like good guy China, right? But when we are saying there is a normative sense of partnership, cooperation, and avoiding war, avoiding ecological disasters, and then all the things that come after after we don't have crises politics happening between big nation states like ours, there's all of these other opportunities. But yeah, it would be nice to know that, like, well, in a democracy, what do we need to know? How messed up, you know, you have high inflation, right? You have an aging manufacturing sector, which still has incredible demand, right? Donald Trump would say the demand is incredible, right? So if we appreciate stuff like this, what do people in the West care or need to know about China? Who knows? Probably don't talk about it, but what's the reality of it? Shouldn't we talk about it? You know, I want to get a 4K little holdy camera, streamy stick type deal. You're in China? Oh, cool. Gothic drink combos. Shout out to you. Shout out to you. I think Boeing's bonds have fallen a bit. Oh, cool. Yeah, maybe some of you folks, you find smart, brilliant, genius folks. Yeah, shout out to you guys. You guys are tracking bonds, these other assets. That's a scary indicator when you see someone's credit score falling. I individually don't have a good credit score. It's probably really bad. I'll admit that. But But to see a large company that has a low credit rating, and it's because of disruption in transportation, because it's political risks or geopolitical risks, very scary stuff, right? Trump made no plane deal in China. Wow. With AI impact, will AI impact a manufacturing sector? Yeah, one would imagine. So this is to, yeah, Abhinav, the two, I know this is very surface level, but Internet of Things, robotics, when we think of a modern manufacturing plant, the Internet of Things and robotics means that you can automate factory production, you can automate individuals' jobs for many different types of manufacturing tasks. And so these are Internet of Things and robotics are ultimately AI technologies. They're based on automation. They're based on even writing code for them, which is now done with AI, programming, development, all done with AI. So important question, right? I would say very good question. And that's my surface level answer to a very big question, right? I've never had an open line of credit. Hell yeah. Hey, good job. Trump risk. AI is already destroying the environment. Why not destroy jobs too? Yeah, it might. It might, right? All of our techno oligarchs, their sick, twisted dreams for us have come true. And this is just another excuse, right? It's another excuse. And we look and say, well, it isn't an AI employee's job, or it isn't an oil and gas sector person's job. If you work at a Tyson meatpacking or a Cargill meatpacking facility, it isn't your job to solve for the exploitation coming because not everyone's a vegan, or yeah, just because people need, right? We're not satiated when we have a job and you have one egg for breakfast. In the United States, in the West, it's more and more and more and more. And when you look and say, well, these countries or people are more efficient than the US, most often, like, this isn't America last, but it's being honest, just culturally, we could recognize, well, yeah, but just go look for it, right? And this isn't just the US. If you were to go to Beijing and wonder if Beijing is wasteful, there's absolutely going to be different cultural values. It may not compare one to one, but in Beijing, yeah, China uses a ton of energy. They're using more and more as well. And so these are collective or cooperative problems, perhaps. There's also going to be offensive or aggressive ways to tackle them, but that's why they're so important to understand. Hey, what's going on, PG? Great to see you. We got PG 420 in the house. Yeah, we do yap a little bit of yapping. If you want to see more yapping, I've got full HD videos made with just a little bit of AI, not too much. Cut out so my annoying the annoying things that happen in my cheeks and my mouth, you guys don't hear as much of that. And yeah, but go to the page. I listed a short if you guys want to subscribe. I'm trying to put out I'm trying to get better at producing cinematic style content, not this like IRL style as much, but we might get into that later. I'm trying to work on all of it a little bit. Hey, what's going on, Real Seth? Heck yeah, we got Golden Seth in chat. I think 24 karat if I recall, or 24-hour Seth. Sorry, I don't mean to impose on you, but yeah, good to see you. The blacks are taking our land. Wow, Greg, Felix. Yeah, on the day that somebody says, "Honey, I shot a black person," with the Chud the Builder case. I think that statement is incredibly poor taste. It's completely unfactual, and even if someone is a groyper or alt-right, or they are just MAGA and they have sympathy for people trying to have fun on the internet by taking a gun and a camera to go shoot black people, I think you should be slightly ashamed that those words left your fingertips and came out of your mouth, right? The blacks are taking our land. That doesn't mean anything in any world, and it never will. So, really bad. The conservative idea of the tech industry are dangerous is to democracy. Yeah, very cool topic. Hey, Turbo, great to see you. Turbo and I go and sometimes we're hanging out on the same debate channels and stuff like that. So Turbo, if you guys see Turbo in chat, you can pay some credit, some respect. If you want a mod or something here too, you can just ask and I'm happy to add the little blue tag to you. But yeah, that's really fascinating. Yeah, if you guys say smart stuff, I'll not that you need to mod, just add mod. And you might say, okay, I just want to hang out, but hey, you're not modding over a tacos channel. You're not modding, so I'll just add you as a standard moderator, and that's cool. What a moment. So we got almost high, guys. Thanks to our moderators real quick too. I appreciate all you guys hanging out. I appreciate you guys putting up with me reading this pop-out chat I got going on. I know it doesn't really help you guys that much, but I do like the ability to read chat. I like the ability to go full screen with it and the whatnot. And yeah, hopefully see what you guys are talking about and see what therefore then I am talking about as well. Whoops. What the heck? What the heck happened, man? Really bad pop-out chat there, guys. Really bad chat moment. Oh man, brutal, brutal. My stream's crashing, everybody. Why do you all Americans disapprove of the CCP and when China is superior in all their ways? Yeah, I mean, I wish we had an easier way to communicate. I don't know. I don't know your political beliefs or yeah, if I should be distrustful. I'm distrustful because it appears that every message has a normative bend towards a government, right? A normative bend towards a government versus saying, well, I'm a conservative or I'm a progressive Democrat. So I'm always going to slightly skew ideas and beliefs towards these worldviews, but I'll try to be honest about those things too. But you're saying I should skew my beliefs towards a government, whether that's the US government, maybe it's the European Union in the end, or I should do so with the CCP. So why would I let that into my brain, right? Why shouldn't I just ban these types of statements when I see them? It's not helpful to the conversation. It's not an example of anything. Hey, what's going on, Tenskin? Good to see you. What do I think about the cheap toilet paper that they use to oh man, yeah. Yeah. I remember, do you guys remember during C-19, the lockdown and stuff, and when toilet paper was running out? There were people that were like stealing the industrial commercial cases of toilet paper and selling them for hundreds of dollars on eBay. So what do I think about it? I think if people are willing to steal toilet paper to make $200 online in the US, so realistically, important money, right? By the way, you guys can super chat me if you want to support the stream, right? So I don't have to go steal toilet paper. Thank you for the script break. Your buddy Duck is down on his luck. It rhymes. Look at how bad I am. I have complaints, but I don't complain. So if you want to keep it that way, me not a complainer, send some money. But yeah, anyways, that's the point. And so if people are willing to steal for $200, imagine what the companies who own the trees or own the paper mills or own the toilet paper machine will do. Yeah, we should talk a lot more about that Chud guy, right? Elizabeth's right. If you guys see Elizabeth's comment, you know, I saw a better short than mine that gave the context of his arrest. But Chud actually, he carried a pistol in his pocket going around to film these videos. And so that's a pretty bad sign, right? You're going to go get into aggressive confrontations. This would be like self-defense 101 is you don't have a weapon on you when you're going into those situations, right? You wouldn't give Conor McGregor or you wouldn't give anyone like an MMA fighter or whatever, Yasmina Jenkins or something. You wouldn't give them a pistol to take into an MMA fight, even as a trained fighter, right? Even a Navy SEAL or someone who was, I believe he was a Green Beret, that one MMA fighter guy. But you wouldn't take a weapon into a fist fight that you agreed to. And so, someone else called this guy out. They said he's a weak male, but I don't want any of those choices. I don't want someone with a weapon that's going around trying to call people the N-word with a hard R. I tend to vote Democrat. Yeah, I think I'm a registered independent. If I'm a Democrat, it's because Arizona has closed primaries. I don't remember, right? I just I do like political science and probably there's probably some other political scientists who we want to vote for geopolitics. We also want to write or discuss, and I'm not that good of it's just what my degree's in. But yeah, I would describe myself as a mostly blue. I would tell you guys vote all blue. But I vote purple too. I have a lot of conservative values and I want to hear those debates. I want to participate in them sometimes too. I want to crush, right? Sorry guys, I want to crush leftists in debates too. Someone that you come out and you tell me you're a leftist and I'll say, cool, I have no idea what that means, but I have an idea about what you're going to come out and say as well. And so if we have a chance for a respectful conversation, let's talk about our worldviews or debates. There's no reason not to. Yuma here. The mainstream media is pushing interracial relationships in commercials, and I'm sick of the propaganda. Cool. Yeah. Yeah. You know, when you guys go to the gym and you guys see whatever it is, it's a buff dude or it's a buff chick or whatever, and they've got beautiful six pack, they've got nice muscle insertions. You know, they look like they've been juiced, but they're not currently, and they've been taking care of it, right? They're doing their step master after their workout, 45 minutes of it. You know, when I see someone in chat talking about critical thinking, that's like a great American body, right? Critical thinking is the greatest. You know, it's everything that I am lacking. It's everything that I am not. Yeah, it's absolutely critical thinking through and through. And I hope everyone that matters here recognizes what I'm saying on the deepest level. So, all right, you could easily recognize. Cool. Yeah, we can start up one-upping each other's cools here. Holy mackerel. I'm sliding, guys. I don't mean to be sliding. Yeah, my phone is sliding a little bit. There we go. The deep state is the same either way. Yeah, I don't know about the deep state. I don't know what you would be talking about, but yeah, economics and the way biology can compete competition and just what the system is. Who knows? Who knows? It doesn't make sense. But you guys can ask. Almost High the other day, she commented, they commented on my, Almost High commented on my poster, right? They commented on a social post I'd made and talked about this thought experiment where you give 10 different people the task of touching an elephant and telling you what it is, right? And if you're blindfolded and you don't know what you're touching, you may not know you're talking about an elephant. And even once you talk to others, it's debatable whether or not 10 blind observers of an elephant who don't know it's an elephant will know what they're talking about. And so it's possible that we know things like where the gas is, we know things where restaurants are, but we don't exactly know where, we wouldn't know where it all comes from. We wouldn't know how others compete over those systems. So I'd like to see you debate leftist stuff. Hell yeah. Yeah. Come with your identity, your ideology, come with your voting record, and come debate. Yeah. Yeah, I could start emailing politicians. I'd rather debate politicians, say, hey, you know, I understand why you don't want to go debate on Piers Morgan, but come buck up, bucko, right? This is going to be a great platform. We'll do 5 or 10 minutes, 15 minutes of softball. That's what we'll cut and edit and post afterwards. And then we'll post some of the debate too, right? That's what you're going to want to see here. That's what you're going to want to see. And we'll try to get some politicians. None of this digital ground game nonsense. None of this just telling people what they want to hear bullshit. None of this saying that, yeah, well, you know, we're gonna take these presentist views and not talk about reality, irrespective of what side of the fence you're on. What fence? Whose fence was this? You know? Hey, what's up, Mizimi? I wouldn't know what you're talking about, right? Zionist Jews isn't anything. Do we need a better way of saying it? Zionist Jews isn't something that just exists in the world as a causal group. So I do think, right? And it's not trying to gaslight you out of saying what you're saying. It's just saying that if I tell you that Zionist Jews don't exist and you go back and you listen and revise your statement to saying, I'm frustrated that Israel killed so many in a genocide in Palestine, you might say that is a better start of a conversation. You can say, I could say I'm angry, frustrated, saddened by the fact that genocide or urban combat both killed over 100,000 in Palestine. Could be either of those things, right? Sick, guys. Ooh. Hell yeah, everybody. Do you think that Jesus had a pass to say the N-word? I don't know what that would do with anything, Grayson. That's a very nonsensical statement. It's not like a silly nonsense statement, right? I could say Garglefoot bookie flip, right? Garglefoot bookie flip is a different statement, and it means just as much or more than whatever just left your body into your keyboard, right? Whatever just left your body into your keyboard. I don't know what the fuck that says. I have no idea who would want to hear that. We all need to come together and demand that Pizza Hut come back with the dine-in experience with the got it, with the salad bar inside. The salad bar inside. Cool. Yeah, I'm just gonna do a quick self plug. Guys, I have a new short posted. If you refresh the stream, you guys will see. Ignore the super chat goal, but yeah, if you guys want to subscribe, you guys want to watch. What I'm trying to make more cinematic, entertaining, engaging formats. It's not perfect, but there's a couple shorts for you guys to watch. Right? If you guys want to go waste 4 or 5 minutes on something that's not bright noises, people scaring you, cursing, stuff like that. Right? This isn't like a prude channel or anything. It's not a slut channel or anything like that, but it's somewhere in between, guys. So check out the video on the Chud the Builder situation. Like some of the videos if you guys want to eat a quick snack. Right? You guys got your oranges out. You got a piece of pizza. You're wondering what happens next. Go watch some of my videos, right? Some of them are edited. They're informed. They don't force you to believe what I know. But they are trying to share ideas that you can critically consider and critically think about. So I appreciate the support, guys. And yeah, if you are considering a super chat, if you guys are considering a membership, gifting memberships, something small, signing up for a $4.99 a month membership. We've already reached over 500,000 people. We're on our way to 1 million right now. We're growing fast, right? Small audience. You guys wouldn't believe it, but we grew by 533 subscribers. These are people that voted for our content, and so when you wonder what you guys are supporting, it is not just the, hey, I'm sorry, I had to time you out for the spam, but what you're supporting is more conversations that appear to bring us back to what I would think is a center, which don't hide or run from values, conversations about values, whether they're yours or someone else's. Thanks, Goopinder. And is a global community, guys. I'm very proud of this. As of now, we are about 70%, 60 to 70% US and Canadian based. And so I am trying to build a global political community. If you guys want to support me with a super chat, memberships, direct donation links on the page, a little bit goes a long way, guys, right? To me, $5, that's actually a bag of rice. It's actually a big bag of mung beans. I don't need that much, but it does help, right? I need something. Yeah, 13 viewers, guys. I don't mind the small numbers. I like the small format. I like when you guys have a chance to observe me, compliment me. I like seeing sparkles, stream hype, that kind of stuff. And I love hearing when you guys are able to support your favorite streamers or vote on something like DucksY, which is something that I believe in and I hope you do as well. Hell yeah. Handsome caveman. Yeah, big old brow, guys. I think it's fine for us to go hard here. And also be honest, right? When something's worth going hard for, it's rare for me, but there are ideas, I think, like Kant's Perpetual Peace. This essay, which I hated, right? I hated Kant's Perpetual Peace. It's like, why are you lying to me about what's possible? When I first read this, I was saying, look, I graduated high school in 2007. I've read John Locke. I've read Karl Marx. I've read Adam Smith. I've read Raoul Prebisch. I've read David Ricardo. I read the framing documents for our own constitution. And here's this Kant guy lying to me about politics. I love German idealism. I love your philosophy, bro. It's interesting. I hate this document. But these are ideas. One of the reasons you may consider supporting DucksY with either a like, which is free, a subscription, which is free, sharing it with people in your network that maybe like the content, or going out and actually, pull the plug if you guys want to send a donation. It's because I do cover essays like Perpetual Peace. I talk about what's grounded in reality, what's maybe controversial, what's worth a conversation. And these are things that I wake up in the morning for. And yeah, so that video essay, it might be behind a membership wall, but I'll be sure to go unblock that after the stream if it is. I'll double check that if it's behind members only, which it might be. I will make that available to everyone. And a lot of these videos, they're not exclusive. Some of our most viewed videos have 800 views. Some of them have only a couple hundred. And yeah, so enjoy, guys. You're joining other people who believe in the channel and mission. Like I said, 1,700 subscribers to me is huge, and that's it. The contest, it's one of the core papers for any IR class. So if you guys don't have an undergraduate degree in political science or IR, in either case, whether all your classes ultimately talked about topics in security studies, in political economy, in writing policy, whatever it was, some historical class. I don't know what IR theorists do all day. But yeah, Perpetual Peace is an important essay. It talks about a league of nations, a league of peace that can mitigate conflicts between nation states of people like us. I'm not religious, Matthew. Yeah, definitely not. Yeah, I was raised Catholic, and so I'm happy to discuss religion, but I'm not always happy to discuss religions on the terms that you may suggest I have to discuss it at, right? Because if maybe you're beyond me, your spiritual journey is beyond mine. It's also possibly the case in that same world that I'm beyond you then, right? If there's a not 100% probability that you're beyond me, because it's not 100%, it's also possible I actually know more about spirituality, or I even know more about religion than you do. So that's why I'm not always comfortable just accepting where you suggest we talk about religion, because you or someone else in chat may not get value from it, and I may not be interested in it, right? That's also fine. Let's see, we got some spam coming through. Hey, whoops, YouTube is calling it spam. I didn't. Hey, hopefully you're okay, brother. If I can do any, brother, sister, person, if I can help with anything, let me know. A loose caboose full of orange juice. Yeah, orange juice, very good. Very sugary. Just a little sip here and a little sip there. Hell yeah, brother. Hey, we just got Lamar Jackson. Shout out any football fans in the chat. Hell yeah, brother. Hey, Michael Stevens. Yeah, MAGA forever, right? Shout out. Good to see you. Yeah, good to see you. Whoops. Let me see if I can do this way. Let me see. I want to know if YouTube can support my ambitions with this. I want to know, can you show me? I want to know about these creatures like me. I want to know, can you show me? I want to know. I want to know, can you show me? Do you think I should drink? Do you think I should drink more water or stay loyal to my family? I don't know. Water fasts are okay. Water fasts are okay. Water fasts are all right, I guess. I don't know. I don't know. Hell yeah. That's right. I don't know why you need to say any of that though, right? That's the difference between a guy like me and a guy like you. Somebody in blocked messages is telling me to strip down to my nutsos, and I'm just saying I wouldn't have to say that. I'm not saying I would, but I'm saying also I wouldn't have to. Drank more beer. Vodka, yes. Perestroika vodka. Yes, perestroika vodka, of course. Yeah. I believe this is Ukraine language, yes? Perestroika vodka. Information asymmetry. Interesting, yeah. Yeah. That is a roasty toasty topic. Yeah, is it ever the case? What is the nature? I would say, what is the nature of an asymmetry in belief in the first place? And can we work with an assumption? Like, one idea is, what does it mean? What does it mean to work with an assumption that belief produces language? Belief produces language. So I would say it's unlikely for example, a homeless person wouldn't be like the Koch brothers talking about funding universities and creating political messaging that is distributed across the world in the United States and working to have GOP senators elected to lower corporate taxes, right? So we should believe that someone who produces those types of messages and those types of actions, if an asymmetry exists, it's because in the first place, a belief exists. So is that type of assumption, like, what does that, what would that refine into or something? Like, does it need to refine or be considered, analyzed first? What it might mean from a methodological standpoint or something. They don't want us out here. I didn't think they wanted us out here, folks. They didn't want any of us out here. I am powerful like Bull, says Grayson Turner. Yes, this is a powerful name, Grayson Turner. Grayson Turner, when you are not discussing MAGA bigotry, MAGA racism, and whatnot, right? We are on an equal footing of nihilism, of course. You are strong like bull or like oxen, of course. All of them, of course. What is a bull without all skin? Yeah. So the belief that ultimately cut it for me was that Catholicism or any Christianity, right? This is also Christianity, believes in a God that believes in a hell. So once you adopt a view, and you might say, well, no, go look at this breed of Christianity. And it's kind of missing the point in the first place, right? Because this isn't I would ask you not to minimize this if you're actually asking. Yeah. And so when you take an idea and you wonder why intuiting this idea fails, intuit the idea that a God exists such that someone can be born some way, right? Born some way and go to hell for the way in which they are born. And this isn't like being gay or what Mormons would say, black people have the curse of Cain, right? This is Cain and Abel, all kinds of nonsense, right? Or in the Old Testament, you have the tribes of David, you have the families of the tribes of Abraham and Isaac going out and committing genocides, right? And in the New Testament, Jesus has to trade, in the book of Mark, he trades jabs, perhaps trades wisdom and wit, not jabs, with beggars. But these people needed to wait for God to send one person to come save them and show the example of what dignity is. This isn't something that he could have done earlier. And so in this world where we have a loving God, he also, right, sends people to hell. He also sends people for the worst punishment possible. So you have a God which appears to not follow the laws of logic or reason. You have a God that appears to in all ways be self-interested, maybe. You have a God who appears to be deeply irrational, not in a pejorative sense, but in the sense that there's truly no sense making about things God did in the Bible. And then on top of this, you have a finite, a one, not a zero, a position where you end up in hell, right? You have a countable number of people in a countable worst existence that is possible. And so why would I believe in a faith that teaches me this is possible, right? It's still in the book. It's still in the book. So this isn't something that is a culturalization of Christianity. It is just what Christianity is. Allah Akbar, right? Alhamdulillah, right? Alhamdulillah, Alhamdulillah, right? I'd rather say with a friend, I'd rather admit to a friend, praise be to God, and just say, hey, this is okay for you to say this, right? And then to admit that I'm a Christian, right? I'd rather do that. So religion is just a stepping stone to enlightenment and science. Yeah. Hey, great point, Dope. That does sound like an Auguste Comte or whatever his name is sort of position. So I left because I got confused by it. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. That is correct. I left because of the reason I just said, because there's a God which doesn't exist in any real sense. So if you want to start with the fact that reality may just be reified and instantiated, it's not a dream, that is what I meant. So I meant what I said, and I said what I meant. And you can come back and ask me about it in a day if you care. They don't want us out here. They don't want people who don't live in delusions, in an idealized sense of things. So what reality is that? Hey, what's up, Farm Cat? Good to see you. Thanks so much for the stream hype. We got a star in the chat. But wait, your thing says you are agnostic. I don't know what thing would say I'm agnostic. I believe on our stream title description, it says we are agnostic towards things, which means, it may mean that in a scholastic sense, we're not doing identity politics about scholasticism. So like if we get into a topic on the essay of perpetual peace, I may say, well, what's the argument first? And then what are the systems or methods where we can measure these by? Versus saying, well, I remember these politicians saying things like this, and I want to go think about things in this Gnostic sense as we see war produced. I'd prefer to just look at the essay and say, well, is this about reality? Is there theory? Is there a theory that ultimately itself, whether it's a great theory, it's a personal belief, or something that people recognize small parts of, if it's transcendental, something like Kant's Perpetual Peace essay, where it's taught 300 years after it was written, some might say has both of these qualities. It transcends in some sense, and then it also just has small seeds people can consider. Kant's description of how peace collapses, how society externally looking collapses, these old school topics. And so I think of agnosticism about that as well, not just religious beliefs, but they don't want people to live in delusions. Yeah. Well, if you have to explain explaining before you can explain something, right? This isn't racism against how different people do science or understand culture or approach topics. But if you have to explain prior to explaining, and just like me, I can be prone to saying something which may be word salad, but at the end of it, I'm talking about reality, right? At the end of it, I mean to talk about reality. What I mean is talking about a reality. And I don't think you need to adopt my metaphysics to know that that is what I'm talking about. We do this all the time. We don't grant someone their entire metaphysical schema, but we can appreciate aspects of their worldview. And so, yeah, I like the emote, religion is a crock of bullshit. I would say organized religion is the biggest crock of BS. And then it's also the case that, when we're not coming from religious identity, atheism to me isn't an identity. I can choose to be atheist towards something. So if you guys ask me how I got my shoe, did I pray before putting the shoe behind me? I've got 2 shoes. Did I pray about that? I'll just say, well, no, I chose to be agnostic about my studio setup, right? I didn't ask God for help. I looked on eBay. I researched carbon usage for different products, and this is the studio that resulted. It's mostly stuff from my garage. It's a affordable, high quality cell phone with a built-in microphone. I've got another mic for my own content that I do when I edit videos. So I'm very lucky for this stuff, but I was agnostic. I didn't pray to God about my studio choices. I chose to be an atheist toward that type of consideration. Am I involved in a church? No, I'm not in a church. Hey, what's going on? We got Panelverse in the chat too. Shout out to you. Hey, Panelverse, if I can show you a little bit of love. Panelverse is already out. Oh, no, you're still here. I'll show you. You might appreciate these as you are engaging the Orthodox community and Andrew Wilson specifically. I don't know if you saw these, but here's a globe, here's a French duck, and here's a flower duck. I'm going to leave off the exciting one because there's maybe enough excitement, but yeah, there's a little Art Deco artwork and stuff. If it's interesting, who knows? But yeah, you always direct so much positivity towards the audience, positivity towards creators. So yeah, this is obviously a very selfish choice to show my own emojis, but hopefully you like the artwork a little bit. If you or anyone likes the artwork, and I would love to see a little more creativity on like that side, the debate sphere, little creativity and stuff like that. Hey, what's going on, Creepy Chappy? Yeah, this is a place for us to be nice to each other, talk serious issues in politics, geopolitics. So things ranging from IR theory down to just like the Chud situation, guys. The Chud situation and stuff like that, simple stuff. So yeah, I like the ducks. Cool. Hey, yeah, I'm glad you like the ducks. Yeah, it's cool. I know Emmett and some of those guys appreciate the artwork. They appreciate their skills being translated into something they control and own, and that represents them in a good way. And so when I launched the ducks, Kat, I said, yeah, the ducks, they're maybe looking at your message. They're maybe looking at, your username, right? They're maybe looking at the audience, stuff like this. So, oh, whoa, blown away, man. Thank you so much, Creepy Chappy. Huge super chat, huge fiver coming in from Creepy Chappy. I appreciate it so much. Politics are not polite, but good luck. Thank you. I will take the good luck. I'll take the opinion that politics are not polite, and hell yeah, that's very true. Yeah. And yeah, thanks so much for the huge $5. I appreciate it. Yeah, guys, thank you. These $5 donations. I'm in the US. I have US bills personally, but guys, other streamers do as well. So when you guys support me, it means so much to me for you guys to be here, to vote for more content, more hopefully engagement, stuff like that. And then also that ability for other streamers as well to see that support, see a little bit of that love without whatever, who knows. So that's it. But thanks so much. I appreciate it. Yeah, thanks, Kat. We got one more. We got the Cyberduck in the pinned message. That's the disco dance party. So I'm putting those in all the social style posts and stuff like that too. Um, but yeah, I haven't been at Robin. I haven't been involved in a church since maybe 2005. I used to go to hot church with one of my friends. So I went to evangelical services and events with my close friends in high school. And then I went to Catholic church. I went to Catholic school too. So I was deeply involved with all that stuff. And yeah, and it was like one of those things where, so, but yeah. And yeah, hot churches were weird. They were a little more obvious to me that, some people are really good at that. Some people are really good at standing up to someone else telling them they're going to hell. I didn't understand it because I was like, well, it's not that I actually believed them I was going to hell. Some people have that sort of psychological damage. But because I am a realist, because I do believe in like reifying or instantiating reality. So you could tell me about this hell place, but I've never been there. I've never seen it. I don't know anyone that's been there. Don't know anybody that's seen it. So I'm going to have a tough time understanding what you mean or believing you. So I didn't care about the hot churches as much. I did think it was very weird. What I thought was real was what a freaking sort of messed up. Whoa, hell yeah. Let's go, baby. Let's go, baby. Thanks so much. I appreciate it. Very generous super chat. I appreciate you. Yeah, I'll make some vegan food and show you guys. Make some vegan food and show you guys. For all the fake vegans. What's your motivation in life? Yeah. Well, I want to, when I reach the age of 40, and I'm at the age where I can buy a handle of gin, a case of cigarettes, and sit on my porch and yell at people. I'm going to convert to evangelical Christianity, and then I'm going to tell people they're going to hell without knowing why, right? I'll still study. I'll go to Bible studies. I'll play the part and believe it. But when I'm talking to other people, I'm just going to sit out there smoking, chain drinking, splash of lemonade, a splash of maybe just lemon juice sometimes in a gin, a nice, it'll smell like rubbing alcohol and a little hibiscus, a little herbal flavors. Hey, da. Yeah, so that's my motivation, is that one day, if I'm still here when I'm 40, God hasn't taken me out, then I will be yelling about evangelicalism and going to hell at that point in time. What's everyone talking about? I talked a little bit about the Chud the Builder situation earlier. We've been talking about religion. We talked a little bit about Trump's China visit. We talked a little bit about JD Vance's appearances. So I have some conservative friends in the audience. So some people might say that JD Vance's appearances have been very on point. JD Vance's appearances have been very much in tune, even from a political science or a data-driven, evidence-based perspective, very in line with what the country needs. And so there is a question of, can we trust someone from a democratic standpoint? Can we trust someone he's aligned himself with someone who has not done anything that's evidence-based in Donald Trump? And so who knows? I think we're going to hopefully have interesting debates, some civilness coming up. And I, for one, am very excited if JD Vance cleans his act up, if he remains on the straight and narrow, he does everything that a person would need to, in the deepest sense possible, to stay committed to the American national interest and his voter base and representing all voters. I think that Democrats could be up for a really brutal election in 2028 at the hands of JD Vance. But yeah, this is completely, to me, in contrast to what was objectively a disastrous visit by all apparent signs between the United States and China. And this is purely because of Donald Trump's agenda. It's purely because of his conduct. And it's because of choices that have been involving all of the United States military and many others around the world. He's not really burning out energy on the system. He's actively producing U.S. aggression around the world. And I don't think that there is a behind closed doors or deep state conspiracy. We've seen 200 kids killed. We saw 100,000 people killed in Gaza. We see our own hemisphere under attack. We've seen a continuing of violence between the Ukraine with the Russian aggressions against the Ukraine. And so when you're asking about multipolarity, tolerance, realism, you're talking about economics, you have a civil war in Sudan. So Donald Trump appears to have taken the wheat from the chaff, claimed cultural significance, but produced nothing good. JD Vance appears to be bringing back things to the domestic level of politics. So when things are bad, it's too expensive to compete internationally, or it's undesirable, or inflation is so high, you should throw things back down. Give the GOP marching orders to focus on great law enforcement. Give the GOP marching orders to build a faith connection of culture locally. Give the GOP these marching orders, and don't expect it to come into policy that's actually going to respond to the present context, because that present context is coming from all different places. And so instead of this sort of idea that a government which governs more governs best, actual conservative values say, well, look, we might lose some seats, we might lose some policy debates, but we're still going to be the example of what a limited government is. You can be upset that it's Christian, but that's still not about what a limited government is, these types of things. So as a progressive Democrat voter, that's what I fear more than anything, is that you will have a GOP that's more effective at opposing really crappy behavior. But whatever, yeah, it doesn't matter that much. So, all right, what's everyone talking about? Hey, got to judge the hell out of people in order to get into the pearly gates. Yeah, that is the irony, right? You have to first claim to know of God. You have to claim to not just know of God, but to know God, to have this Calvinist view, or to even presume of a place like hell, right? So this was, to me, why I don't understand ever how I would believe that a supernatural place like hell was inspired. When I was younger, even my mom has a master's in theology, but she would tell us these small things, right? It wasn't these hour-long processionals and doctrinal and liturgical sort of preachings, but she has a master's in theology. She went to one of the best, highest-ranked Jesuit universities for that master's degree. She worked at the Catholic parish. And so she worked around people who all had advanced degrees in Catholic stuff too. She valued education, and she would say, well, Duck, she would say, Nathan, Duck, my son or whatever. But she said, yeah, the kingdom of God is now, right? This is what the Bible taught us. It's all around us. And so hell is a separation from this. But what would hell be? It's a separation from the kingdom of God being now. And so I didn't think this was abusive. And she knew me well, right? She was telling me the kingdom of God is now. She wasn't like, in the sense where you just accept imaginary beliefs because someone told you an imaginary thing. I found comfort in my mother telling me this, and I still remember this is a stronger form of anti-institutional religion. It's mystical. It doesn't challenge the narrative of the Gospels in a religious sense. But yeah, I'm proud to be an atheist and a Buddhist now. So what would you do if you had to choose between your motivation and saving 100 random people? I'd still choose myself over anyone. Yeah. So what I would do first is I would remind you guys the like button's free. You guys can always subscribe for more of this content. You guys can check out the videos. My most recent videos have edits, AI, they're full HD. And yeah, and so that's me choosing myself first and foremost. Is that, yeah, you guys can get the money up, you guys can get the subscriptions up. Duck doesn't care about a thing, guys. No, but the motivation for saving 100 random people, who knows? Moral intuition, moral seemings about things. Yeah. Just the case that, if there's two possibles, to me as someone who believes the world is real, believes that facts are about real things, I would say that, one real thing is I can imagine a state of the world where 100 random people don't have someone saving them. Maybe like Peter Singer talks about animal liberation or about global poverty, right? Civilizational poverty is, the word that Peter Singer uses. But you can think of a hypothetical as well. And in a hypothetical, there's still two real worlds that would be produced. You can disagree, debate. You can debate whether you're talking about what you know in the moral sense. And I could say, well, what you know is about these two real worlds, right? And so it's less, maybe in some sense, a praxis would say, if I'm talking about my motivation to act, my praxis would say that, well, it's less about what you say you can know with absolute certainty. It's more about seeing these two worlds to begin with. Yo, hey, we're talking about whatever you want. Philosophy, politics, anything like that. Distance from God. I read that somewhere as well. That helped me bring a lot of peace when I was moving in from Christianity. I don't know if that's the same as deconstruction. I don't know, but um, yeah, who knows? Who knows? I never felt a connection to God once in my life, even when I was Catholic. I had a couple experiences, but I wouldn't say they were God or the Holy Spirit. My religious experiences, I still wouldn't say, again, maybe this is the depths of, a Christian might accuse me of being delusional, but even when I fell under the Holy Spirit being prayed over or, at different church services, not speaking in tongues or anything, but, you see the people falling down when they get, not pushed, but you get prayed on and you can't move and you fall down, and that's what happens is your body stops moving. And so even in these cases or whatever, I wouldn't have said that I was close to God, right? I wouldn't have said I was close to God. That's maybe how delusional I am. So I don't know. I was raised Southern Baptist. I was raised by the bayou. That's crazy. Wow. Not crazy, but yeah, I've seen some stuff in churches. Wow. Yeah, that's crazy. That's crazy. Brain for me, I'm not obviously going to judge you because you're not telling me your religious experience or anything, but I could imagine that that was a brain numbing, mind numbing experience, not stimulating. Whatever you want, whatever you want. I found my connection to God or the source when I was staring out at Mother Nature one day a long time ago and felt a powerful interconnectedness. Cool. Yeah. Cool. Definitely. Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. Right. Absolutely. A lot of people want to lose. Some people want to. Sorry. I found my connection to God or the source when I was staring out at Mother Nature one day. Cool. Yeah, that's absolutely cool. I feel a much stronger spiritual pull towards mysticism, towards nature, than I do to a religious God. Um, but that's also weird because I think to me what's powerful about that is it's almost this like operational capacity where a moment of peace or a moment of clarity is gained from a moment when you're moving forward. And so usually when we talk about religion, like in the Christian sense, you want to lose that a little bit. You don't want any more of that. You say, please take it off me. I don't want to be seen as a person with responsibility or knowing doing things that are not about my true nature, not about just nature, right? These are unnatural, queer, perverted ways to be. Um, and then on the other side, it's like, well, cool. This is also where spirituality is reached, where you're not out of it yet, but then you're not done, right? Someone can ask and you're not done at the end of it, but here's the other capacity in which you have an experience that doesn't attribute itself to something. Hey, what's up, Duke? Duke the Duck of New York 420. Yeah, shout out to you. Duke 420. Cool. Hell yeah. I've always been I thank you for the compliment. If I have any skills I can pass on or knowledge, I was always a good public speaker. I took a public speaking class in college too. Um, yeah, and so I would say use concrete examples when you're speaking. Pull loosely from personal experience. Don't get too in depth with stuff. Don't pretend like, and a great for me as someone who is a little cynical or skeptical, don't pretend the audience cares about you to begin with. Yeah, and then the other things is just good habits. If I could, anyone who's learning, right. So practice communication. It's not video editing. It's not watching Netflix, but practicing good communication is writing and speaking. So when you practice writing and speaking, you'll get a little better at it. Um, Using concrete examples, and then this also goes along with that is yeah, if you're willing to speak truthfully, authentically a little bit. You're willing to say difficult things. Naturally, I think these are also times or cases where your presentation skills improve. Um, yeah, I worked at a call center and I worked in sales, so I've taken over 20,000 calls in my career. Um, and then I've been an executive in tech businesses, so you have to, right? I didn't have some deep understanding of how to make money. but I did have really good presentation skills. I had really good presentation skills. And so understanding information, being able to contextualize it for different stakeholders, corporatism and that professional context does matter too. I'm based in the US, and so it's less about having the marketable skill, but when people are making decisions, you're talking about decisions, you're talking about team culture, communication goes into those facets too. It's not just entertainment. It's not just entertainment. It's not just storytelling. Hey, Kale, 36, 37. Yeah, 6'7" as well, too. I don't know what 36, I'm 36. If that's age, I don't know what it is. I could ask you to clarify, but yeah, I'm 36. I've been using the comments for a while. I'm 36 to improve language, rhetoric, even strategy, but applying that may be a larger curve than I thought. Yeah, that's a great point. That's a great point. Almost High's always blowing up comments. I don't always know what's on your mind, but a lot of times we reach a topic eventually. And so maybe also in addition being right, one of the things I would talk about too, I would talk about being able to go with the rough and tumble style of communication, right? It's not about what you know, it's not about what you've studied, it's not about what you Google, it's not about asking ChatGPT for help, it's about being able to tough it out. Grit builds grit, folks. Do you guys understand where I'm coming from? Let's go. Hey, cool. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you so much for the sub and the like. Yeah. Why ignore the hell yeah? Yeah. 176 pounds. Yeah, I don't know. I got to lose it all, right? I got to lose it all. Just depends how depressed I am that week. Yeah. If I'm able to get out of bed, sometimes I gain weight, sometimes I lose weight. Getting out of bed, not getting out of bed. You guys know how it is. So, puff out what? Hey, what? Hell yeah. Fansly, OnlyFans. Yeah, I had a couple chicks helping me yesterday. I was joking about making the first the first straight male OnlyFans for women. OnlyFans or Fansly. Yeah, not a ton of nude content. But yeah, that's something that's it's in the pipeline, right? I don't know that I'll actually post it. I don't know that I'll actually do it, but no, we're just joking around. I don't know why it would be something to joke about, but I wouldn't be comfortable with an OF or Fansly. I wouldn't want another sub site. Why wouldn't I try, if I'm a politics and philosophy commentator, and this is really about the depth of it, why wouldn't I try Patreon first or something like that? Or try to push memberships. Yeah, you guys can gift memberships, buy memberships. So you're not a realist. I don't know what that means to be a realist. Geopolitical realism or like philosophical realism. You'd subscribe if I do OnlyFans for men. Yeah, I know. A lot of people say, yeah, women want to watch gay porn or gay OF, right? Women would more women or whatever would subscribe to a gay guy's OF than a straight guy's OF for them. But I don't think that's actually true, right? I don't think it's actually true. I don't think it's ever been true, to be totally honest, right? I don't think it's ever been true. So, and instead of having one good male OF site, maybe it's the case you've got a million choices to choose from, right? Everybody's got small businesses. Everyone's got these jobs, mature guys without families, right? Everyone comes around to it. And yeah, it's just out there for you. There's nothing else to it. Whatever. I mean, it's not that big of a deal, but someone would do really well with that. I'm sorry for saying it. I apologize. Yeah. Keep on trucking. Cool. Thanks so much. Yeah. Shout out to any of the blue collar folks in chat too. I'll just mention it real quick. Yeah, for blue collar folks out there, you guys, I'm from Arizona. I'm a former tech worker. I've also done a ton of blue collar stuff, right? So shout out to you guys. Obviously, those that live and breathe it every day. Appreciate you guys spending some time here with me, right? It's not always the shiny stuff, but sometimes our bruises that represent us. And if I'm talking to you in the US, we're also way luckier than other people. There's folks that struggle to eat, live, this kind of stuff. So it's pretty tough. Yeah, you can ask me anything. Ibrahim, of course. Hey, Vexer, yeah. It depends what the audience was there for. I'm happy you guys most people that have stayed around. We have a minute average duration, right? So 1 minute and 15 seconds, actually. So it's 25% more than a minute. So that sounds pretty remarkable. People are staying 25% average, and this is over 1,000 views. This is over 1,000 views. So even with me not looking my best today, I look like shit. I've got dirt under my fingernails. I have a nice Bengali, what's it called? What is this? This is like a nice shirt. Not Pottery Barn. It's not Pottery Barn. What is it? It's a decent polo shirt. So even with some kind of BS stuff, I'm sitting back in my chair. I'm not trying to pull you guys in, trying to keep you guys here, trying to talk in the most engaging way about politics that I might know how. I'm really not trying that hard. And that you guys want to stay for a minute means that you guys are, some people are here because you guys want to just hang out, talk, whatever. And so, yeah, it feels really weird to grift over a community building thing. And so I try to, because I do have my channel, obviously it's not meant to be raking in money every second, but I do try to stay researched. I try to read some academic papers each day, try to stay up on the news. So if you guys don't want to, you don't have to. And so I'm trying to put back in, but yeah, last time, I stopped streaming when I got too many viewers here because I don't want to make YouTube slop. I don't need to. Like I said, we added 500 subscribers last month. So when I actually stream, when I'm actually making content, doing shorts a few times a week, we grow. So if you guys were curious how the sort of niche channel works, right? It's politics, and then it's down a layer into maybe progressive, maybe evidence-based politics, something like this. The way these niche channels grow is you are consistent and you decide to say no to talking over people at the end of the day. Thank you. I appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for saying a nice thing. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Yeah, that's absolutely right. Hell yeah, brother. I look the same. How do we pull it off? Yeah, I do. If you guys want to see, I used to have really nice, big, puffy, strong arms. Bleh, right? Vegan arms. But, it's the diet. It's also lightweights. I think if you're older, I'm in my 30s. I'm 36, and you can get a strong build lifting 10, 12-pound weights. Some people say, no, you need that progressive overload. And that's just not true at the end of the day. Hey, what up, Vic? Yeah, good to see you. Thank you. Yeah, hell yeah. Yeah, definitely. You're a fine man. Thank you. I appreciate it. Very kind thing to say. I appreciate it. I appreciate it. Yeah. Yeah, I also, if you guys didn't know, I subscribe to Goth Mommies, Dom Mommies on my main account. So I'll just mention this too. If you happen to have one of those spicy naughty links like OF or Fansly, and you noticed me in chat, you guys came here, be nice to the audience, right? Not everyone has this sort of, not everybody has inside jokes with OF girls. Not everybody has inside jokes with Fansly chicks, whatever, dudes, chicks, Goth Mommies, Dom Mommies, etc. So if that's you guys in chat, shout out, right? Shout out. I respect what you do, of course. And more than anything, being nice to each other is how we all move forward as a group and as, whatever it is, as a crew, etc. and whatnot, right? So that's a really big important thing to me, is that as I go out, and we never eat alone, right? We never eat alone. It's all about the network. Your network is your net worth. If I'm polling PFP ass, if I'm pulling username ass into the chat, guys, let's be honest, that's a pretty sick accomplishment. It's worth a sub. It's worth a like. Yeah. Hell yeah, brother. I'm joking, by the way. That's, hopefully you guys understand that's a joke. I feel like I need some, oh man, please don't. Please don't. By God's grace through our faith in Christ's blood, payment at the cross. That's a very creepy verse. It's a creepy set of verses, or a creepy statement. To me, yeah. Yeah, I've never seen this God or this grace. Hey, I ain't trying to mog anybody. I wouldn't mog if I bet my life on it. What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? You guys want to fit me in with the look maxing and mogging crowd? How would that have happened? I don't get this. People say I look like Tom Brady. I look like Tim Tebow. I don't look like I carry a faux hawk. I should dye my hair green and knock my teeth out. I'm a mogger. I'm a look maxer. I'm a gooner. It's like, what? I didn't do any of that stuff. I still don't do any of that stuff. I still didn't do any of that stuff. That's crazy, right? It's completely true. How? I didn't do any of that stuff. It's stupid. Do you think fame changes a person slowly, or do big streamers stop pretending once they blow up? Yeah, you get I think the charitable interpretation for like Myron Gaines, it's a great question, by the way. Thank you, Vexer. Um, but yeah, it's a Myron Gaines is one example of a influencer who has one of the largest Rumble audiences. He's very active and popular on YouTube. And for Myron Gaines, he's so successful, he could completely just go live here, just provide the platform and link out, right? He could provide a private membership programs, whatever it is, male grooming, masculinity advice, leadership advice. He could create an app and just monetize outside of all social media. He's that big. But it is very strange to see someone like Myron Gaines who has these constraints from his audience, who will only show up, only provide those types of opportunities if he says the right things, talks about the topics that he should be discussing. And then at the end of it, right, at the end of it, still the last thing down there is that he is defending this Chud guy, right? And so it's very strange. It's like, well, shouldn't you on your own platform defend why someone who had a stated goal of shooting a black person on the internet, you're defending him on a massive Rumble and YouTube channel? I really don't think I really like this is something that people around the world should appreciate, that this isn't fame corrupting someone. This is showing a lack of sense. This is showing a lack of engaging morality. It is not understanding causation in the world, right? If one neuron of Chud the Builder was associated with having this desire to get into a conflict and shoot them, and he would have his camera on him, it's accurate to say that from a criminal standpoint, what he wanted to do was get into an argument and shoot a black person on the internet, which he's now in prison for, basically. This is what, as long as the charges stay around toward the trial and past, pre-sentence stuff or whatever, however that works, this is what a prosecutor will try to argue, is that, there's physical evidence and maybe that's enough for the attempted murder charge, but there's probably a lot more there, right? This was a person who filmed his exploits, put them online, and was actively involved with them. And so fame, to me, fame changing changing a person slowly or whatever it is, I think it adds constraints. And then beyond this, it's never an excuse, is I would say the first thing, right? I'm not going to dictate to someone. That's also abusive. If I say, well, fame changed Myron Gaines, I don't know that. Myron Gaines showed a lack of sense defending Chud the Builder alongside Sneeko. I do know that, right? Because I watched the clip, right? You had that conversation on the internet, knowing nothing about the world, having no basis in reality about what actually happened, who this person was. My mic is clipping. I can't help that. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. When I feel down, I just remind myself that I'm not you, all better. Yeah. I hope you're doing okay, GT Fish. Yeah, hopefully you're okay. Guys like this know exactly how to form cults. They muck around and see how many people actually fall for it, no matter how bizarre. That's a very strange statement. I would say I attempt to not deter from cult-like behavior. If I haven't been doing that, I apologize. I'd much rather have critical thinking. If I affirm any of your beliefs in passing, it's by accident, right? It's transitional grammar. It's not semantic. I'm not meaning to ever say your meaning is correct because my meaning is correct. So, yeah, hey, there's a new channel rule, right? We all have complaints, not all of us complain. And then secondly, I don't mean to confer meaning on you by agreeing with your grammar or syntax, right? I don't mean to agree with your syntax if we haven't discussed it in depth. I can be nice, we can be kind, we can have opinions, but technically, I'm not trying to form a cult. I hope you guys can look at me as a person just like you, maybe a person worse than you or smaller than you sometimes, and a person just like you. Have you ever looked at another big streamer and thought, damn, fame cooked this person? Yeah, I mean, I think the most notable example is, I don't know if it was fame, but H3. That guy, obviously, I don't know if he got sick or something, but he powered through it. And yeah, I know he had a huge audience, right? He had a Reddit audience that was larger than most people's combined YouTube, Twitch audiences. So just to give you the banana for scale, Ethan from H3, obviously, he's leading the charge on what social media was. And as much as I believe he got into like these really wild conspiratorial, completely lacking any basis in reality topics and stuff like this, I think I would hope that other mobile streamers who do fun content, I like that stuff too, but I hope people that do repetitive content, try to make a fool of themselves or a fool of their audiences for views. They say, hey, send me the laughing disco ball, send me the disco party, right? Send me some corgis, send me some huskies, send me a red super chat. Red super chat, I'll put on my red hat, right? The people that do that kind of stuff, I hope they take a lesson and see that if they can afford it, to get a part-time job, get some corporate experience, get some work experience, wherever you are in the world, right? Go out, make a Fiverr account. You know, who knows? If you're allowed to in your country, if you're in your country, whatever nationality you are, your citizenship, if you're allowed to do Upwork or freelance work, go do that in addition to YouTube, right? It's not about making $1 million a year. It's just about seeing something else. You're young enough. You don't need to do repetitive lottery slot style gambling games on the internet. And so I would hope that you guys see non-monetized content. You guys see my shorts. You guys see that, by the way, we are now at also 76 seconds. So we went up a minute of average duration. And this is with only, we're back down, but this was just an additional 100 views over the 100 we had before. So cool. So all of that stuff is that malleable, right? And so when people, to me, what I worry about with fame changing people is people getting sick. People who cannot handle the workload, are not confident, authentic in the value. And yeah, your goal isn't to have 1 second higher average view duration on the second half of your stream, or yeah, just wonder why I pursue a goal like that, or even to gain an additional subscribers while dropping my view duration, right? I don't want to drastically change it, but here's what my channel is. This is what I want to do. Sorry, guys, I know it's boring, but if your goal is to have 500,000 subs, you're going to be like some of the really huge YouTubers. I wish you all the luck and success in the world. But that's not always realistic for everyone. You know, I think it's cool if I can be live for 2 hours, which we've been for 2 hours now. And we average 6 messages a minute or something, 4 to 6 messages. It means it's something that's worthwhile. And you guys can also leave, right? You guys can unsub from DucksY. You guys don't have to look out for content. You don't have to hit the bell. You can hit the bell if you don't want to lose the channel, get notified of stuff, or you don't have to, right? You know, add me to a favorites folder or something, or don't, right? My door is always open. Yeah, and so that's also an important balance. You know, if H3 says all of his audience is irreplaceable, or his audience for these topics is irreplaceable, you know, who knows? Ethan probably had a crazy view when H3 was at their peak. I don't know where they are now. Maybe they're still peaking, but yeah, to have a view, not that your audience aren't individuals, but to have a view that everything's irreplaceable or everything can be bought and sold. It just takes time to rebuild. It's free in the algorithm. You can boost it with ads. You know, this is a really strange, you know, it's a strange thing too. So that's what I think is streaming, basically. Yeah, take your time, right? I'd rather have a flat voice sometime. I'd rather not have to go out and always talk about the most fun, sexy, attractive topics. But I don't mind doing that, right? And if you guys want to support that, do consider sending a super chat. I love seeing the gifts and gems come across. Helps me a lot. Support your favorite streamers, guys. I'm in the middle of my month right now. It's not that big of a deal, but anytime you guys super chat, it alleviates a little pressure later on in the streaming month. And it also helps me stay focused on chat and whatever you guys are talking about. I don't know. I guess I'm supposed to say everything costs money. It's all buy and sell trade. Hey, you do not have enough credits to buy Anakin Skywalker. Yeah, we will do a Padres bet. Padres. Hell yeah. Oh my God. You guys think I look like Cameron Diaz, really? Why would you even say that? I'm honestly asking too. If you guys think I look like Cameron Diaz, you guys are going to have to take a picture of it and then like send it to me. I don't know. Maybe you can edit me and put me in Charlie's Angels or something and show me that. That would be really funny. That'd be hilarious. All right. I'm sorry. My bad. I don't know. Anyways, what are we talking about now? Let me go see miscellaneous email. Chuds Y. Yeah, yeah. Duck goes out and starts telling people, hey, you're a common sense person deserving of dignity and respect. Yeah. I'm going to carry a little thing of like, what's it called? Aerosol can of funny spray, right? You know, Chuds Y. And I'll say, hey, guess what? Hey, guess what, you dignity-bearing person? Do you want to see something funny? And I'll spray a little thing. I'm gooning on a car. I'm gooning on a Hot Wheels car. Hell yeah. Something About Mary. I haven't seen that in a long time. I maybe have never seen that movie. On account of being a male. On account of being a male, I've maybe never seen Something About Mary. I never had an interest in it. It wasn't real. Who do you think loves you the most in real life? What? That's a very personal question, very close to the chest question. Um, Surface level answer would probably be parents, just because that type of love is difficult. And then second surface level answer would be Kamala Harris and Joe Biden. In Kamala's first term as president, she was actually a vice president, and so I do think Madam President knows about me, cares about me. So I'm really looking forward to Kamala Harris duking it out in 2028. Yeah, yeah. Um, Hell yeah. Miscellaneous email says this guy F's. Yeah, I don't know about that, but I do appreciate the rhetoric. That's a positive supporting message for me. Yeah, definitely. Definitely. So would you rather wake up tomorrow with all your fame gone or keep the fame forever, but then never truly know if anyone around you actually loves you for who you are? Um, I would rather wake up tomorrow. I don't have fame now, so I wouldn't know what you're talking about. But if I had any recognition, I would wake up tomorrow. I would not be a millionaire. I would have $100,000 and I would be able to be by myself. I'm very tired after Donald Trump's presidency, guys. I'm not going to unload on you, trauma dump, no drama llama, but I'm exhausted after decades, after what seems like decades of conflict and war, and then maybe the best time in history to produce more peace, to produce civility, to move away from nationalism, move away from differences, and move continuously the evolutionary path of moving closer to natural values, values that can be shared by any beings. Anything could be appreciated or understood in some capacity, right? I don't know if you guys believe that, but instead of not being famous or being famous, I'd rather people consider the question, can an ant or a dog or a tree know something like we do, right? Do these types of analogies actually exist in the world? If they do, then it's the case that as a society and civilization, we have moral agency and responsibility for beings just like us. And this has to do with relatable moral values, nothing esoteric, nothing alien. And so I would simply say that as a matter of fact, it is the case, right? It is the case that, whatever. Anyways, yeah. So what I would say is that I would rather keep my fame and be able to inspire people to ask meta-ethical questions. And if I can inspire people to ask meta-ethical questions, then that means even our own lives, the ways we don't connect with other people who wish we did, these things can all be informed and perhaps improved upon in the future. That means a lot when you make it particular about people, about places in the world you've never been, about other beings you like. Hey, Stillmeeg, yeah, great to see you. Yeah, everything's good. I hope you're having a great week. Happy Friday, everybody. Happy Friday stream. Let me go ahead and flop out. I should have said this to begin with. I don't know if we're staying live for a while, but whoa. Let me go ahead and flip out. Bam. And let's do a world duck and let's do the France duck. Bam. All right, guys. So we're going to load ourselves up. We're going to load ourselves up with a little bit of gratitude. I'm not saying doing it too much, but when we have a hard time putting a face in a name, a place name, physical location on our empathy, compassion, humility, one of the things I like to do is remember emotion is something that you experience. It's also something that you may hold, right? It isn't the case that, as far as I can tell, that there is an emotion God, right? Or the Christian God is the God of emotion. But we have emotions. So this leads me to think that emotions are like beliefs, right? They're brain states. And so I don't think it's wrong to just load up on a little gratitude, a little recognition of other people and the whatnot. You guys, and like the message says, guys, party Friday, party duck stream yay. Love you all, La Vie and Rose, etc. With the rose and a beer, and then it says more so, etc. Whatever. Any questions with the party duck again? So shout out to you guys. We are partying tonight, guys. If we're gonna go big, we're gonna go big or go home. So I'm gonna go ahead and replace the pin message with that one. Bam. You guys see what it is? Yeah, and watch me. That's how I do it, guys. Hell yeah. You guys should see me reacting to my own stream. Hey, what's going on? Lesson listeners. Good to see you. Shout out to you. Hopefully you're doing well. Hello, hello. Yeah, let's get wild, everybody. Happy Friday, Friday, whatever it is. Great to see everybody. Great to see everyone. Well, shit, I really like talking with you. Heading out. Cool, Vexer. See you. Happy Friday. Yeah, if you're still here, happy Friday. Great to see you, and enjoy the rest of your day. Yeah, we live stream, and like I said, edited HD shorts, some AI videos, content in some of them, and I'm working on quality. If you guys go watch the last 2 shorts, the last 2 or 3 videos, they should all be pretty good. And like I said, some of them are under members paywall. I'm gonna go check them after the stream. So anybody wanting to check out the content this weekend, you guys won't have to be a member. And then I'll go do that. Yeah, is this Rabbi Shmuley? Hey, what's up, Jojo? I don't know who Rabbi Shmuley is. I've never met that person. I don't know why you would think that I'm like Rabbi Shmuley, but I appreciate kind, consistent messaging, and happy Friday to you. Yeah, happy Friday to you. Okay, cool. Do 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 do. Hell yeah. I think I say this. Yeah, and if you guys want to support the show, I'm going to set up a X. Let's see. We're going to say it this way. Cool. And yeah, you guys can support. So I just put up a new super chat goal. You guys can support your favorite. You just have to click the button right when you guys super chat goals or gift goals up. You can click complete the goal or participate in the goal, and you guys will see that you're supporting your favorite PTSD, fake XCIA, stolen valor type streamer, right, etc. More so in the whatnot, right? So you guys can pretend that while I'm speaking through a lived experience of Quora stories, Quora conspiracy theories about Wuhan and the whatnot, as I'm talking about that stuff, you guys can decide to support me, right? You guys can picture it like a Telegram DM or Snap to your favorite OF or Fansly, Goth Mommy, Dom Mommy, etc. Right? So support me like I'm a Goth Mommy, support me like I'm a Dom Mommy, and yeah, that's what helps me and keeps me moving forward. And like I said, yeah, exactly, yeah. Exactly, guys. You guys can see the proofs in the pudding that if you guys treat me like a Goth Mommy, a Dom Mommy, hey, I'm going to show up like that, right? I'm going to show up like that, and I have no idea what's going on in life. And that's it, yeah, and that's it. But yeah, so my Friday is going to be cool. You know, I used to go like buying these little like NA beers, these little Pilsners and stuff like that. And then I'm looking forward to making some refried beans with a little bit of vegan beef stock. So that really rich, whole, hearty flavors. So good. So good. So imbalanced. And yeah. Oh, shoot. Oh, wow. I don't know if that's real or fake. But yeah, I hope that you are here and of things that you are coming from. These things are still there, right? These things are still there, but that's not bad or stressful, right? We attach meaning to those things. You know, A small Buddhist reflection is, what do you know of the past impacting the future? What do you know of the present? What do you know of the present? Um, the Buddha, I'll share this story too, of course. What the Buddha helped with is in one of the Buddha's writings, he traveled to a town and he saw all kinds of people, politicians, craftsmen, businessmen, merchants, holy men, teachers, and he said, "Hey, well, you're a businessman. Teach me about business. What do you know of business? As a businessman, you admit, and I would admit, you know about business, and so teach me of business." And this never operated. It was a repetitive writing tactic to show that things that we hold to be true may not actually be true in a sense that we can convey to another person. So what do we know of the past impacting the future? This isn't about changing who we are as a person. If I have negative ideas about myself in my own head. I hold negative beliefs about myself. I have memories of either bad things I did or things that I wish I had done, regrets, I have grief, just like everyone else. I have trauma, just like everyone else. I have optimism, I have hope, I've been lucky, I've been successful, I've won. And so when I say that, when I talk about identity, my own identity, and I say, well, my past doesn't determine my future, I'm still me, but I'm here without all of those things. And I'm also here without a deep sense of moving forward. Part of this is just a small reflection on Eastern style Buddhism. It's not always, it's also, you know, uh, and I'm not going to get too deep, but Taoism conflicts with this. Taoism says a little bit, we put ourselves in these change processes. And so it is the case that a false sense of self or a false sense of belief comes from the past into identity into the future. But it's also the case that no, you don't self gaslight, because there is a self that is with these experiences, that is with these knowledges and things like this. So I would just mention that. Hell yeah, thank you. You'll look good in black leather. Cool. Yeah. I'll do my best to help support you as the human being you are. You're not the only human I support. Cool. Yeah, go support your favorite streamer. Who knows? Maybe it's the case that I have 8 different. You guys are all the same person. There's 8 people that spend all day on my stream, or whatever. And so who knows? I have an idea metrics of success regarding you guys, right? I don't try to get you to know you guys that much. Cool. Thank you. Appreciate it. Do vegan gimps, see, that's a great question. Still me 4084 asks, do vegan gimps only wear latex suits? I would imagine so, right? I would imagine so. I would also imagine you're doing a carbon tax credit when you order it, And this is more important, right? There's Hegelian context. So if you are a vegan gimp, let's just say you guys, like I'm asking with the super chat, you guys are looking to support me like a goth mommy or dom mommy, but this is also so I can have what Kant called reciprocity, or others are acting, right? The categorical imperative, others are acting as I'm acting, therefore I am. So, but yeah, there are electronic devices that simulate all types of naughty adult acts. These are things that exist in the world. You can buy them at Best Buy. So I would just mention that, well, to me, these are like, obviously I'm not fundraising for that, but I would say that if you are a vegan gimp buying latex or something like this, you should take the context that it is not just the waste of the product, it is the waste of the aggregate sector, right? The adult sort of sector. So now is a better time than ever to carry burlap sacks. Now is a better time than ever to invest in carbon credits in your own life. If there's a tax deduction, that's great. Check, you guys, a financial advisor, talk to a financial advisor about green tech funds, sustainable technology funds, sustainable indexes on the Fortune 500 and 1000. And then you can also go out and to discover place names. Carry knowledge with you before making an economic choice, right? So vegan gimps, this is the takeaway. Carry economic knowledge with you before you make a choice. And also for vegan gimps out there, etc., goth mommies. Oh, I'm back. Am I back? Can you guys see me? Yeah, sorry guys. I got kicked off by the CIA. Yeah, I might close the stream down soon. I am back. I very selfishly asked for additional super chats. I actually don't need money right now, so I'll be totally transparent about that. If anybody did want to show stream support or go support your other favorite streamers on this Friday of all days, right? Yeah, somebody asked me about, yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, but my phone shut down. My phone shut down. So I sorry about that. I so sorry. Somebody asked me about being a vegan gimp, and so I figured I'd answer. I don't know that I know anything about it. I was thinking it was Palantir. Yeah. Yeah, maybe. Who knows? Yeah. Yeah, a lot of these guys, big VCs, big CEOs, etc. Yeah, great call. Great call. Exactly. Exactly. What do you mean great call? Yeah. They assign your numbers on Quora, they assign you your numbers on Reddit, etc. You don't tell people about that. You know that if you are like me, you don't tell anyone about that. Just kidding, guys. It is funny to make fun of conspiracy theories. It's not funny to make fun of mental illness. So, anyways, yeah, but yeah, I think we should support defense CEOs. I think we should support people that own or manage a business that's related to national security. And that's also coded language for saying, well, this is a highly politicized topic and it should be highly polarized as well. But there should be clarity that emerges from that. I don't see it being the case that Peter Thiel, as well as the people that he's trusted to run his portfolio companies, some of which are now publicly traded, right? I don't believe that you should have individuals determining the political outcome of the United States. This isn't about a great man theory. It's not about aggrandizing a person, but it is sort of like an analogy. It should illustrate it that if you can say something and get away with it, like wondering Peter Thiel's impact on national security, this shows that it's an important topic. It also shows that not having a ton of knowledge of this, and in some political conversations, some layers of politics, that's not acceptable, right? Yeah, please buy sustainable grown latex. Cool. Hell yeah. Yeah, absolutely, guys. Cool. Yeah. So that's what I think anyways. That's my ultimate at the end of it type deal. I've been watching Peter closely. He's watching me, so I return the favor. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, when you look at what Palantir is capable of doing, it's less about the technology. I mean, we should be aware of what technology law enforcement buys, but it's also the space that they're generally in, right? So it is the fact that Palantir is very adept and very athletic, very aware and knowing of the things they do for local and federal law enforcement. But you can also, outside of Palantir, hook up a network of security cameras, right? You can buy software and you can rent the security footage from every camera in your city, every smart camera. And so saying that not only do you have a way to search databases of people and bank accounts and known associates, which maybe you should have, right? Maybe there's a reason for this type of technology, but it is a security state. It's very scary to think of. But saying, well, this is also taken on the whole, what you actually have is you're seeing Palantir connect to audiovisual data. You're seeing Palantir connected to expense for modern technology that protects officers' lives, but also changes perhaps the perception of how law enforcement is done, right? Talk to someone who's actually led law enforcement units. What will they tell you about technology? Well, one of the things they would tell you is that officers have to learn and be trained on technology. It isn't a magic bullet. You don't get some magic benefit in law enforcement because you bought a software. You don't keep officers safe or citizens safe or criminals safe because you bought technology. And so there are technologies that you would think like tasers or whatever, pepper balls that naturally keep people safe. But then what happens when you give people tasers in the context of having 4-inch plated steel on ordinary police cruisers, or it is just standard fare for everyone to be trained basically in riot gear and other assault style raid weapons and whatnot, right? To me, that's where you cross the line. We're no longer talking about accountability and training. We're talking specifically about how liberty is impacted, how a limited government actually deploys technology in law enforcement. And if someone's becoming a billionaire off of this, people can become millionaires. It's vesting in your 401k. Is this actually a good thing? I don't actually know. I wouldn't actually know, guys. Yeah, so. But anyways, to verify some of this, you don't need modern technology to be aware of what they're doing. Cool. Yeah, guys, I'm going to shut the stream down pretty soon. Yeah, it was a lot of fun, guys. We're at 2.5 hours. Thank you guys so much. If anyone's curious, 1,200 views. On average, you guys stayed for a minute, so thank you guys. That's really cool to see 1,200 views, you guys staying for a minute. I appreciate it. I take it as a responsibility to take, what is this, like, 12 hours, 20 hours of watch time, whatever it is, however it's calculated. Yeah. So I appreciate you guys. Yeah, and if you guys want to support with memberships, super chats later tonight, later this month, whatever, next month, that's always helpful. And stay cool out there, you guys. I'll see you guys around in chat. I do chat on my main DucksY, so feel free to say what's up if you guys see me out there. Talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Take care.